My name is Shannon Whitney, and I teach the Friday Orchestra Service Project at TMP. It's the first year we've had an orchestra at TMP that I know of. It's my first year at TMP, and I've just been so grateful to get to know this amazing group of students and teachers. We just have a few select players today who will play a very short Welsh folk song for you called Ash Grove. We have Ralph on cello. We have Maritza on violin. We have Corey, who's my TA, on violin. And we have another staff member, Teo, on viola. I'm going to be playing violin. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. So if the folks from the master's program want to come up. So good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
So if the folks from the school will introduce yourself, spell your last name for the record, and indicate what role in the school you hold. We can do that at the very beginning, and then you don't have to keep introducing yourself the rest of the morning.
Good morning, and thank you for being here and inviting us to share with you the master's program. My name is Carla Hasmoskowitz. You want me to spell my last name?
Yes.
There's two names, a space, no hyphen. Haas, H-A-A-S. and Moskowitz, Moskowitz. And at the master's program, I have the role of superintendent / head of school.
Good morning. My name is Cheryl Romero, last name spelled Romero. I'm one of the co-principals.
I'm Christopher De Jesus, DE, capital JESUS. I am the options coordinator.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Kelly Trujillo, Trujillo, and I'm the president of the Governing Council for TMP.
Thank you. So the Charter School Division will do their presentation. Then we open it in case there's someone here for tribal consultation. Then you'll have your 30 minutes to go, and then we'll open it up to public comment. And then it's our questions. Okay, thanks. Cheryl, is it?
Good morning, Chair Gibson and Commissioners. My name is Cheryl Rowe, Authorizing Practices Administrator for the Charter Schools Division. I'm here to provide the PED evaluation for the Master's Program. CSD conducted our renewal visit to the Master's Program on September 23rd, 2024. Director Karina Chavez, Lucy Valenzuela, Kristen LaVolpa, and I visited the school in person, and Martika Davis and Ken Norris joined remotely. The master's program opened in 2010 with the Public Education Commission as their authorizer. This is their third renewal application with the PEC. The master's program is committed to the development of engaged, compassionate students who value academic excellence and education beyond high school, service to others, and creating a conscious community. The Charter Schools Division recommends that the master's program be renewed for a term of 5 years without conditions. The recommendation is based on the record of the school's performance over the course of the contract term, the renewal application, which highlights adult actions and programs in the service of student progress, and verification of those programs and adult actions during a renewal site visit and annual visits. The master's program is a spotlight school, and their VISTA score increased substantially from 2021-22 to 2022-23, from 59 to 82.2. Masters received designations of excellence in 22-23 for performance in ELA, science, ELA growth, math growth, English learner progress, and college and career readiness. In 2021-22 and 2022-23, Masters outperformed the state and district in reading, math, and science. Masters graduation rates are also on par or better than those reported for the district and state. Additionally, the PED has published the Spring 2024 assessment results. The school's VISTA designation is again spotlight. Proficiencies have declined in math, ELA, and science. Graduation rates went up slightly. Their overall VISTA score dropped from last year from 82.2 to 66.4. However, as I've previously mentioned, according to VISTA's point totals from school year 22-23 and school year 23-24 cannot be compared due to changes in business rules. About the drop, TMP leadership and teachers shared that they have had an increase of students enrolling with learning gaps in English and math, especially among English learners and special education students. They have responded to this by hiring a new EL director, additional EL and special ed instructors, a reading interventionist, and have started sheltered classes for special ed 504 students and other students who need support to provide a smaller, more supportive setting. TMP has implemented a school-wide MLSS system and provides abundant PD for teachers. Moreover, TMP has communicated with SFCC and designed improved pathways. TMP also added an advisory period, learning lab, and student tutoring for added support, and both TMP and SFCC teachers and advisors are available for help during office hours. The finance indicator ratings in the last year of the contract term reflect that the school has struggled in this area. The school has had 8 audit findings over the course of the charter term, including 6 findings in the most recent audit. The school has had only 1 repeat finding and no significant deficiency or material weakness findings during the contract term. The school has contracted with a new business manager effective this fiscal year who is working with the head administrator to improve financial processes at the school. The master's program has maintained a full governing board for the duration of the charter term. For the last 2 years, all board members completed all training hours. For the duration of the contract, most notifications have been timely. The board described an effective plan in place to complete all training hours and comply with board requirements. The board has also recorded and posted their governing board meetings on their website for the school year 24-25 so far. The school's ratings on Part B of the renewal application are as follows. They met the standards on student outcomes, educational program, and equity and identity. They demonstrated substantial progress in governance responsibilities and other performance framework indicators. They failed to demonstrate progress in mission-specific goals and financial compliance. The school's rating for financial compliance is failing to demonstrate progress because a rating of demonstrates substantial progress in the renewal application rating requires data showing improvement. This is an example of when a rating in between demonstrates and failing would have been helpful. Audit indicators lag by a year, so the process improvement actions the school has put into place, which CSD has confirmed during the renewal visit, are not yet reflected in the annual audit and will be released in the spring. While the school did not meet the targets outlined in their mission-specific goals, they have taken numerous adult actions to improve outcomes for student readiness for college. Masters did a root cause analysis, hired a college and career advisor, obtained a CTE grant, partnered with SFCC and IAIA for dual credit, and bolstered support in special ed and MLSS. The leadership team learned quickly that the goal was not realistic nor helpful for some of the students, as some students were not ready to take college classes. Therefore, the leadership and staff developed strategies to prepare students for college-level courses, setting them up for success once they are ready. In spite of not having met the goal, master's students take a great number of dual credit courses, and they generally do well since they have ample support and preparation, but the school did not meet the target and did not amend the goal. During site visits, CSD has observed a robust educational program in place. Students have rich opportunities to participate in pre-college experiences in collaboration with SFCC and earn dual credit. The students expressed great enthusiasm for the variety of offerings available to them that meet nearly every type of career objective, learning style, or interest they might have. Moreover, the educational program has evolved under the new leadership as they have identified changing needs of the students. For example, service learning has replaced Friday projects, which goes beyond community service as the students have a chance to reflect on their experience, learn from it, and even become leaders in their service projects. In addition, the advisory program has replaced Thursday morning meetings, which includes enriching SEL experiences and conversations. As mentioned, the school has continuously provided professional development opportunities for staff and supported the collaboration and growth of staff through PLCs. CSD attributes some of the recent tensions and dips in performance to leadership changes, which have caused some growing pains at the school. In discussions with school leadership, they have taken responsibility for the issues and have shared their commitment to making improvements and doing what is best for students. In short, the master's program provides a much-needed, highly desirable high school option to Santa Fe families in terms of academic offerings, college credit opportunities, and a caring staff dedicated to strong relationships and the progress of the students. Thank you.
Is there anyone here for tribal consultation?
I do not see anybody who has raised their hand indicating they're here for tribal consultation.
Thank you. Now the school has your 30 minutes and Missy keeps time.
Video next. We have a video for you. Yes. Okay. And now we have a video.
I have my list and I was ignoring it
okay.
because I was trying to respond to Rafe Martinez. I'm not timing yet.
master's program is committed to the development of engaged, compassionate students who value academic excellence and education beyond high school, service to others, and creating a conscious community.
El programa Masters está comprometido con el desarrollo de estudiantes comprometidos y compasivos que valoran la excelencia académica y la educación más allá de la escuela secundaria, el servicio a los demás y la creación de una comunidad consciente.
من نحاج الماجستير ملتزم بتطوير طلاب مشاركين ومتوظفين يقدرون التفوق الأكاديمي وتعليم ما بعد المرحلة الثانوية وخدمة الآخرين وخلق مجتمع واعٍ.
We got the Student Leadership Council recently started. We started with 8. Now we have 18 students. Some are senators, some are representatives. And what they do is they get to represent the voice of the students. And when we can find that students have a voice at the Master Charter School, it makes a difference.
If I'm behind in classes, I always know that I could go to somebody that's in the Learning Lab and they'll help me getting caught up.
They just help me a lot because now I actually stay on top of my grades instead of them flunking.
Coming here, it was a breath of fresh air because we had approachable staff, and I really appreciated the curriculum being streamlined around me and my career path. I have a lot of college classes, and that's really helped me gain confidence in going to college.
The master's program is a school where I really got to open up and be myself. I have the support of my teachers and my friends, and I still am getting a lot of the support, and I appreciate it. Thanks to the master's program, I got to open up and be myself. El master's program me ayudó a mí a ser una persona más independiente y me ayudó a conocer a mucha gente y abrirme más. Me abrió las oportunidades a tener muchas más ayudas de mis maestros y mis compañeros. Agradezco mucho a esta escuela porque siempre me ha apoyado y me sigue apoyando.
One of the businesses I plan on opening is a dental business. I plan on expanding and helping people with low family income.
Being located at Santa Fe Community College, our school offers students the full range of college courses. Most of our students graduate with many college credits, offering them a seamless transition to a four-year university. Another basic principle is to assist students in realizing they are responsible for the choices they make and that they have freedom of choice. Service learning is a key component of our program where students get real-life experiences in such things as working with elementary students, maintaining trails, therapeutic writing, or creating their own service learning project. We have an after-school leadership program with nearly 50 students. TMP is not your typical high school experience. By advocating personal responsibility and freedom of choice, we guide our students in becoming well-rounded, responsible, and lifelong learners.
My name is Linda Pena, and I have 2 girls here at the master's program. The opportunity and the support that they get from everybody at the master's program has been amazing. They are able to explore the different parts that the college has to offer while being a high school student and creating those friendships and community that I don't think that my daughters have gotten in the previous schools that they've gone. And so they absolutely love it at the master's program, and it's just been great for us as a family to watch them grow, and it's exciting to see where it's going to take them in the future.
Thank you. Next up, we have our Freedom Ambassadors and our Student Leadership Council with Ernest Kavanaugh to bring them up and provide some introductions.
Good morning, buenos días. Is it good?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity for us to be here with you all. When I look behind and I look in front of what I just saw in the video is just a taste. It's a sample of when you go to TMP. When you go to TMP, it's much, much more. And what is much, much more is what's right behind me. The Freedom Ambassadors that I was privileged to reinstitute because I was at Santa Fe Community College for about 25, 30 years. When I retired, I was always running programs from the college and the high school doing dual enrollment, creating the leaders of today, so you have the leaders of tomorrow. The leaders of today are, if you see my Freedom Ambassadors, they'll be in black, and I have a Student Leadership Council for the last year and a half that I've developed. You will hear from these students, they're strong, they're vibrant, they're ready to lead. If I could take them to Washington and teach those folks how to do a few things, they could do it, without a doubt. And having the support of our staff, our faculty, our admin, we're nothing short of excellent. These folks really make an impact. I have my council that could sit right up with you all, and I would love to see them. You are welcome at our school anytime. Mr. Carrillo, he's been there. He knows. He's seen. So with that being said, again, thank you por la oportunidad. Está con ustedes. Y tengo estudiantes también que hablan español. So si quieren hablar en español, dale vuelo. ¿Están listos? You guys ready? Please introduce yourself.
I am Jocelyn Newhall. I am a freshman representative on the Student Council.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity of being here. I am Maria Valdivia, and I'm sophomore representative.
Please spell your last names for the court reporter.
Newhall, Newhall.
Valdivia, Valdiviaa.
Good morning. My name is Cesar Terrazas. I am a freshman senator for the master's program, and it is a great honor to be here. My last name is DELGADO TERRAZAS. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Alexia Schwade, SCHWADE. I'm a junior here with Freedom Ambassadors. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm Savannah Gallegos, GALLEGOS. I am a junior here at the Master's Program, and I'm also part of Freedom Ambassadors. Good morning. My name is Star Natsway, NATSEWAY. I'm in 9th grade and a part of Freedom Ambassadors. Good morning, everyone. My name is Hayden Moore, MOYA. I am a sophomore, and I am part of Freedom Ambassadors.
Hello, good morning. I'm honored to be here. My name is Ethan Mendez, MENDEZ, and I'm a Freedom Ambassador.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Luis Valdez, VALDEZ. I am a junior at the master's program, and I'm also a Freedom Ambassador.
Hello, my name is Ethan Lopez, LOPEZ, and I am proud to be a Freedom Ambassador at the master's program.
Hi, I'm Sahira Ruiz, RUIZ. I'm a freshman and I'm a Freedom Ambassador.
Hi, I'm Avila Hill. It's VIGIL. It is a pleasure to meet you all, and I am a sophomore at TMP.
I am Isabella Fairchild, FIRCHILD, and I am a sophomore representative.
My name is Michael Weber, WERBER. I'm a junior, and I'm also a Freedom Ambassador.
Pleasure to meet you all. My name is Willow Schwartz-Zito, Schwartz, SCHWARTZ, Zito, SCETO, and I am a senior senator on the Student Leadership Council.
Good morning. My name is Portia Russell, RUSSERL. I am a junior senator and I am also the board representative of the Student Leadership Council. Good morning. Thank you for having us. My name is Johnny Gallegos, Gallegos, and I am a junior representative on the Student Leadership Council and a proud Freedom Ambassador. Hello and good morning. My name is Bonnie Gallegos, Gallegos. I am a freshman representative on the Student Council along with being a Freedom Ambassador.
Well, I am Jacob Lucero, Lucero, and I am a junior member of the Freedom Ambassadors.
Good morning. My name is Alex Perez, PEREZ, and I'm part of the Freedom Ambassadors program at TMP.
Sure.
So first off, thank you for having us. Thank you for letting us be here. Some things I'd like to say about the school is TMP, it's an amazing high school. It's a great program to have. The opportunities that we get here, you can't really get anywhere out of state. We have individualized learning programs, college, I guess, what would it be? Like pre-college progress and everything like that. Currently, I'm a junior. I've explored many career paths in agriculture, engineering, and now going into psychology. And I think the school is really great. You can't find anything else like it in Santa Fe. And I'm hopefully going to graduate and go to a four-year university.
Thank you all again for having us here. I want to talk about TMP because when I first heard about this program, I was ecstatic. I was really nervous about going into high school, but when I heard that there is a program that allows us to have a college readiness program, I was very happy because my dreams are to go to eventually graduate school and hopefully get my PhD. So having this college readiness program has allowed me to expand my interests, look into different career paths that I might be interested, and then be able to grow on that. So through TMP, I have found my love for biology, and I am currently working on getting my associate's degree in biology by the time I graduate next semester. And I give everything to TMP and their staff. They have helped me get scholarships, helped me grow as a person. Before, I was very scared and timid, and I didn't talk to anyone. I had one or two friends, but now I have an entire council behind me. I have Ernest in my back pocket. I also I've made so many connections here, and I would love for TMP to be renewed for another 5 years.
Hello again. Thank you for having all of us, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'd just like to say that this is my first year at TMP as a sophomore, and I'd like to say that this is the first time I've actually brought home a report card that I'm proud of. Due to like the staff at TMP, there are challenging classes, but I'm happy to do that. I'm happy for the challenge. I'm happy for the support I always get at TMP. I'm actually understanding math now, and it's really exciting. And through TMP, I found an interest in law and politics, which I never thought I would have wanted to get into. But with TMP and with Ernest's help, I saw that, and now I want to pursue law and politics, and I'm just really happy to be at TMP. Thank you.
I'd like to start off with saying thank you for having us again. And the master's program holds a very special place in my heart. So as a freshman, I didn't start there. I started at a small school that was local to my community, 2.5 hours north from here. My older sister was a junior at the time I was a freshman, and she threatened to drop out of high school because that school was not for her. It just wasn't working. So what my father did was he got on his phone and he called Mr. Kavanaugh, and Mr. Kavanaugh said, apply for the master's program. Bring your kids down here, and even if you can't be with them, I'll help them, and I'll be by their side. Ernest not only was by my side the entire year last year, but he brought me on for second year, and now I have my little sister here with me. My older sister was able to graduate from this amazing program, and this has given me not just a whole other opportunity, but an entire other part of me that I didn't know of. I always grew up on the ranch. I was always very involved in 4-H, and this program gave me an opportunity to step away from 4-H and to learn more leadership skills and to bring other opportunities not only for myself but for my family. And I have friends that are interested in applying to the school because of the amazing opportunities we have. And I've just been overjoyed to be here. I'm super excited to graduate hopefully next year. And I'm really proud to say that not only my older sister has graduated from this program, but my little sister has the opportunity to do so. Thank you. It's Johnny, Johni. Hello, and thank you again for letting us come here today. My name is Bonnie Gallegos, Bonnie. I'd like to thank you guys and talk about my school. So, I've never really been a school person. I've always hated school and I've never been good at it. But here at the master's program, I have finally been interested in my classes. I have decent grades that I didn't have before. I've connected with the teachers in a whole different way. And TMP has definitely found a place in my heart as well. Johnny Gallegos is my older sister, and if it weren't for her and my other older sister, I would not be able to come here to this school. And I'd like to thank all my teachers for helping me this year, and I do hope to graduate in the next 4 years. So thank you.
Hello, thank you for having us. My name is Jacob Lucero, Jacob. And one thing that I think TMP excels at more than well, that's a generalization, but more than most charter schools is the connection that students form with their teachers. You see students saying hi to teachers at stores, you know, they're not scared of them when they see them outside of school. And it just fosters a really deep connection and where students are actually engaging with the material on a deeper level.
Um, being able to be part of the master's program has been a great honor, as not only has it introduced opportunities to follow my goals and dreams, with the chance of being part of college classes, but being able to discover like, new opportunities pretty much with college classes. Um, with other freshmen, and have a whole world ahead of us regarding classes that we might further take and uh, new college classes that we might get introduced to. And having the chance to have greater, like, students from higher grades share their stories and how they got introduced to new topics, new opportunities, have honestly intrigued me to the possibilities that I might face. And being part of the master's program has been able to facilitate the opportunities I might have. Thank you again. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Luis, Luis. Y para mí, mi escuela es un hogar, una casa. Yo en general I haven't experienced una conexión tan grande como en esta escuela. Yo sé que si tengo un problema, no importa qué sea, puedo ir con cualquier maestro y ellos me ayudarían a encontrar una manera de poder salirme de cualquier predicamento en el que esté. Por ejemplo, si tengo un papel que no he entregado o algo, los maestros me ayudarían
a poder entregarlo y trabajarían conmigo. Los maestros no nomás están aquí para hacer su trabajo, pero para ser mejor que otros maestros. Ellos en realidad hacen su trabajo muy bien. Muchas gracias.
Good morning, my name is Star, S-T-A-R. Coming to the master's program, I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I was still thinking about going back to my old school, but I had my older sister here with me, and I would go to some of the Freedom Ambassador events with her, and I thought that it seemed really cool. So I decided to come here anyways, and I'm so glad that I did because I love this school a lot more than any other place that I've been. TMP is like a community to me. It's like a home, and I've never felt more like I belong anywhere else other than TMP. And I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to come here and hopefully to graduate from here because I plan on staying here for the rest of my high school year. And I'm only a freshman. So my opportunities are just going to get bigger and bigger as I go to my sophomore year and my junior year. And then, yeah, thank you. Hello again, my name is Nevaeh, Nevaeh, and the master's program has been such a blessing to me. It's helped me come out of my shell multiple times and helped me step out of my comfort zone. They've opened so much doors for me, and they're helping me lead up to my future careers. For example, I plan on being an event planner or a party planner. And a role that I am trying to accomplish is being the creative director of events and visions for TMP. And each year that or each day that I'm experiencing, they're helping me grow and lead up to that. And I don't know where I would be without TMP now.
Hey again, my name is Ethan Mendez. Most of you guys know me, but you don't. Oh, sorry. I am a freshman, and I just wanted to talk about the master's program and what it has done for me. When I first entered the school, I was really nervous and I was really scared. But I met Ernest, like what, 2 years ago because of my sister, and I really got comfortable in like the first month. And I have a lot of people that look up to me, especially teachers like Shannon and Rhonda, Roxanne, and Joanne. They have teach me a lot of things, and have teach me especially to be myself. And I'm really honored to be a part of that community. And I just want other kids like me to have a chance at that. Because most kids out there, I feel like, are not being heard by other teachers. And again, 5 more years. You want to?
Hello again. My name's Ethan Lopez. And I would just like to add more to what my other friend said, which is the other Ethan. The teachers really are great here. They help you a lot. Te ayudan en todo, ven todo. They try to find everything in you so they can better help you out. A great example would be my math teacher, Miss Sabrina. And I really appreciate her because she has taught me a lot of math. I couldn't understand fractions at all, and she has helped me through my way there. Ahora ya las entiendo más y la verdad me gusta esta escuela. Not only the teachers help, but everyone's just so helpful around. You can see a teacher in the hallway and they say hi to you. They won't be in a bad mood. They won't be stressed with you. They'll just be there for you, happy with you, and just happy to be there with you as well.
Hello, everybody. My name is Haley. Thank you for having me when we speak. I just want to speak on TMP because my aunt, she had graduated, and she told me of the opportunities, and I decided I should come here for my sophomore year. And I realized that this school does not just have any educational opportunities, because I don't know what I want to do when I'm older. I'm not gonna lie, but I know that this program has a lot of opportunities for me to learn, and I've been looking at the other options that they've had, and there's so many, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And I didn't even get just education opportunities. I got opportunities to meet amazing people that I have grown to really care about, and the teachers. And I hope that we can have another 5 years because the school's amazing, and I think that other people should have opportunities. Thank you.
But you're so special. I have, oh, I have, okay. I have about 20, further away. I have about 20 more kids that aren't here out of one group, Freedom Ambassadors, and another about 10, 15 kids out of my student council. What I want you to know is they asked me, can they do something that recognizes who they are, if I may. And I got to recognize Roxanne, Dr. Seagraves back there, because she's my partner when we create all these incredible leaders, and Tina and all y'all. So Dr. Seagraves, you guys ready? Here we go. I am somebody. Yo soy alguien. They really are somebody. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that and for welcoming our leaders into this room, into this space. And we have our PowerPoint next, where we will go over our program in response to some of the questions from all of you. And I think you've got that slideshow. That's all we need. We'll wrap up. This won't take too long. So this slideshow has a lot of information I think that you already have, but I'm not going to read it. But we want to show our appreciation, and we're here to answer questions as well as to present. There we go. There's our beginning. Very nice. Okay. Thank you. So that is our mission statement, which you've heard in various languages, and I think that you know it, and we know it. Those are our VISTA scores. I think as discussed and as predicted, we would probably take a dip for a variety of reasons. And my feeling about that is when I've only been at the school for about a year and a half. And my experience in schools, especially small schools that are highly relational and provide safe spaces for students to become themselves, which I think you've heard here. There's a diversity of people who come to our school, and we welcome that diversity. And we welcome all of them. And so as a result, we have increased numbers of students that represent different languages, different learning styles, different approaches to assessments. And as a result, I think when we need more assessments, and that's why I brought MAP in, so that we can learn from the results of those assessments. And so I think in time we're going to see that come back up again. And again, these are scores that represent only a fraction of who our students are and what they can do. So we're not surprised by the dip, and we embrace it as an opportunity to grow. Next slide. So yes, the mission-specific goal is my favorite topic for TMP. So when I found out that this was something that New Mexico, that this is a New Mexico thing, and then in Charter World that we have mission-specific goals, which makes sense. I didn't feel that the goal itself was one that resonated for me. The number of students to be placed in college classes, although easy to count and maybe measure, would not necessarily reflect our mission and vision. So is that, you want to do, okay, is that better? Is this better? Okay. And we were more interested in showing an increase of college and career readiness rather than number of students that we put in classes. And so we discussed whether we would amend that particular goal. We knew this was our renewal year, and we opted to just communicate as clearly as we could to anyone who would listen, who came to visit, the site visits, et cetera, that we were in the process of shifting that into creating more of a focus on how we prepare students to be ready for career and college. And there's a lot of research on that, and we're doing it, and we're working with Davis and others to create some rubrics, and we'll be doing that with the students, and we'll have different measurements, and we're excited about the shift. So that is what I have to say about that. And I think this nice little flow chart shows that we really focused the last year and a half on needs assessment, on organizational auditing, and looking at job descriptions, just leadership structures, just ways to make the school operate and to fulfill its mission and vision in the best possible way. And that has been really very, I think, a fulfilling and encouraging and inspiring process to watch unfold. So our priorities have shifted. That we are, again, looking at what does it really mean to be prepared. And so when I was hired, I noticed that our ninth graders were invited to participate fully in college classes, which on paper is great. And we want to encourage our ninth graders to do that. But that left their schedules looking like college schedules, which means they had large gaps of time in there. So instead, what we did is we encouraged our staff to actually teach sheltered or scaffolded college classes in the West Wing where we are. And they can take those and then work on using a variety of programs that would support them in time management and into decision making, into setting their own short and long-term goals. And so we're going to really focus on making them better at being a college student, and therefore the retention would go up. Okay, we're going to speed through this. We have, again, I'd mentioned that we have sheltered dual credit classes. Then we offer those for all of our students. We also offer a fifth block, which is an after-school opportunity to do the same and also build skills. Next slide. Again, we do targeted structured support that's driven by data, the assessments that we're using. The fifth block is after school, and that's new, and that's supportive of students who need just support in their classes during the day, as well as opportunity to take additional classes for college credit. We've beefed up advisory, which we feel is really important, and we are doing next step planning in student advisory, as well as supporting students in their college classes and their high school classes. And the equity is really important to us. As I said, we have developed a very comprehensive, and we've been doing this since day one, since I've been there. So we're looking at what does it mean to serve all students through MLSS, and we've had various forms of student assistance teams, interventions. We've paired advisors, and we have co-teaching going on, and so lots of ways to support students to be successful in school. Next slide. Now I'd like to turn it over to Axiom to do our financial report.
Hello, everyone. Is this right? Missy, is this okay? Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Katie Rarick, R-A-R-I-C-K, and I'm the business manager for the master's program. So over the past few years, they have changed business managers. They started with an in-house in 2020. They switched to another contractor, and then they recently switched to us. During that time, they also received 8 findings, but nothing was material or significant deficiency. And right now we are working with the school to continue to increase their financial systems to make them stronger, to reduce the number of findings going forward. Next slide. Okay. So some of the things that Axiom does is that we make sure that every check that is cut, every payment that goes out is authorized, and we have electronic systems for all of our revenue and our distributions. In addition to that, we have multiple checks and division of labor that looks over everything. Axiom's organized in departments, so you have multiple eyes on every transaction, and we make sure that the board has the support they need with the financial information that they need to make the right decision. Right now, we're working on a 3 to 5 year sustainable plan to make sure that not only does Masters use their resources for the classroom, but that it is sustainable. So at the end of the day, at the end of 3 to 5 years, they will continue to have a healthy reserve, but also allocating the right amount to help with academic gains and support with instruction. Next slide. So we have clear procedures. It's listed in our policies and procedures that we've gone over with the board. We are also working right now to craft some very specific TMP financial procedures that are also in compliance. And we have a very robust finance committee that we work with at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, to make sure that the board and school leadership knows exactly what's going on the financial side, and that they can make strategic financial decisions in the best interest of the school and the students.
Minutes.
Hello again. I want to thank you for this opportunity to represent a group of very fine individuals who serve on the governing council for TMP, people who bring tremendous depth and breadth of knowledge to TMP and are dedicated to improving the school. We've made a lot of changes this last year to amplify our efforts. We work in committees. We have a division of labor. Our secretary, Doriana Perez, keeps us on track with regards to our board training and all of the forms and whatnot that we have to have filled out for the Department of Education. More so, I feel like we have a really high morale as a board. We feel very confident that we're a very strong working group, and we're looking forward to this upcoming year.
Next slide. Okay, these are issues that came up through the state reporting, and we recognized that some of them, and we've corrected them, and so they had to do with switch. Anyway, they were technical issues that had to do with Social Security numbers that were misappropriated to different people. We are working on that to improve our systems, and we feel very confident that we've adjusted those.
Okay.
All right, all yours.
Okie doke. So initially, there was a division of special education and general education, but as we've gone through the past several years, most recently in the last year and a half, we have adjusted and realigned so that we can look at an MLSS approach, multi-layered student support, and really not trying to isolate students. And so we have then adjusted, created different drilled down to different areas, looking at different populations, males, females, special education, students with disabilities, students without disabilities, ELL. We're looking at first-year students who have come to TMP versus students who had been at TMP multiple years. So we're drilling down all of those pieces, and it's a broad range across all of our students and all of our staff. Next slide. There was a complaint that was filed, and the state looked at it and decided that there was a finding, and we addressed the finding. It was closed in September, and at this point in time, it took us a few weeks to do the additional training that was required, and we were able to complete that, and we went on, and there are no other additional things that need to be addressed. Next slide. Thank you for allowing us to have this 30 minutes and this very brief little moment here at the end. And we welcome any additional comments, questions. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We're now on to public comment.
Yes, we are. We have 3 pages of people who signed up for public comment, but some of them, I believe, are ambassadors. I have crossed off some of your names as you spoke. If I call you as an ambassador and you're like, I've done my bit, just motion to me, okay?
So we are going to ask people to truly hold to your 2 minutes because of and we also have 7 people online.
We have 7 people online. As a matter of fact, we can start with them. I want to play the sound that you will hear so that you all are aware, both online and in the room, of what the alarm, to wrap it up, is. Okay? You can hear bells. You guys are getting the benefit of everybody else that's gone before you and done it less than optimally. All right, so, and if I'm going to misspell, I'm not going to misspell, I'm going to mispronounce names. So apologies for that. Mia Rue. And remember, you need to spell your last name for the court reporter. And
Good morning, everyone. My name is Miru Shonabishi Timukala. I am consul and ambassador of Women and Children. Oh, okay. There. Okay, thank you. I am consul and ambassador of Women and Children of the Choctaw Muskogee Yamasee Nation. I have a son who graduated from TMP in May and a daughter who is currently a freshman at TMP. And I've had the privilege and honor of being one of the founding members of our Parent Family Community Council, and I serve on the leadership team of that council. What I'd like to share with you is that from the very beginning of when I reached out to TMP, I didn't know a lot about this school, but I knew that it was an alternative option for my son who was coming out of a rehabilitation program from the Taos Pueblo. And I was met with such compassion and such openness to our circumstances. And my son was in a very difficult moment in his life. But through the embrace of this community, he not only graduated from TMP, but he graduated a year early with 2 semesters of college credits. And on his own will, he chose to engage in a alternative university called Cardone University, and he is now a young business owner. At the age of 18, he's started his own business and is an entrepreneur and is just a remarkable human being. Witnessing my son's success, his younger sister, who's now 15, decided that she wanted to pursue entry into TMP. And all I can say is that her journey as well has been equally, if not more, remarkable. The opportunities that she's had, in other schools, a student might say, oh, I want an opportunity to try this thing. Maybe it's music or maybe it's art. Am I done? Okay. Anyways, what I want to say is the administration, the leadership of the school, and the teachers have been just absolutely above and beyond. And I'm so grateful to call myself a member of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. But before you leave, could you spell your last name first?
R-U-E, Rue.
Next, we have Marky Montoya Howland.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. I feel very honored to be amongst fellow educators. I'm an educator of 25 years myself. Montoya Howland, M-O-N-T-O-Y-A, and Howland, H-O-W-L-A-N-D. And I think we've spoken so much about the academics, which are fabulous, but also each student comes so unique and with their own needs, talents, and everything. And I feel like TMP has been a sanctuary for our kiddos. Born and raised in Santa Fe, I think this is exactly what our community needs. I feel like there's a school for every student, and I'm so grateful for this school to be the school for my student, my son. I have an 11th grader who has been at TMP since his freshman year. He went to the May Center, which is also a phenomenal program, but I felt like the bridge from 8th grade to 9th grade is huge, especially for a student who maybe a lot more young and youthful and maybe not ready for the high school experience. And I think this has been just so special. Not only are there wonderful academics, there's activities, there are also programs for their interests and talents, and maybe things they didn't know. I mean, they had playing cards class, they have athletic things, they have dances, they just had a wonderful dance, by the way. I feel like it's so inclusive. I don't see students being excluded in things. I feel like there's an honest effort to repair things that may need to be repaired. And in a society right now that can just be so unclear sometimes, I just feel very grateful and appreciative to this program and to Carla, her whole staff, to the board members, the parents, and everybody. And thank you all also for all that you do. Appreciate it.
Smack dab on time, like you would expect a teacher. I also want you all to know that I don't start the timer until you've spelled your name, so that you have a full amount of time, but don't start with the whole thing before that and then spell your name. Okay, Sarah Weisberg.
Hello, thank you. Sarah, S-A-R-A-H, Weisberg, W-E-I-S-B-E-R-G. I'm so happy to get to speak. I didn't think I would. I was way down the list, it looked like. I'm a teacher. I think I'm representing, I'm the teacher who's been there the longest at this point. I've seen incredible changes, and I think the changes have been for the best. I'm really happy with our new governing council, who's been amazing, and also our new administrators, who are wonderful. And it's taken some time, but what I've seen is just a huge coming together of people and ideas, and the ability to see where we need to improve and then be able to do that. We have faced some adversity, and as any good organization knows, when that adversity comes up, we have to work to see what is being pointed out and work towards solving those problems. And so I'm from what I've seen, we are working our butts off to do that. And so thank you for hearing us, and that's all I really want to say.
Next, we have Stephanie Benning.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie Behning, B-E-H-N-I-N-G, and I am speaking to you as a mother at TMP. I have two freshmen. My two children are 11 months apart, so they have been in the same grade since they were in kindergarten. They've had a unique educational journey as they went to school most of their life overseas. And so when we moved back to the US, it was very much of a culture shock for them. And they did have a difficult time acclimating to school in person in the US. And so I had heard about TMP and how students had been very successful and happy and wanted to go to school. And in my head, as a mother, I was kind of like, yeah, right, really? Do they really want to go to school? I don't know. I don't quite believe it. And so they were accepted into an MSA and into the master's program. So I gave them the option to choose which school they wanted to go to. And after touring TMP, they chose TMP. And the reason why is because they felt that they had so many opportunities, that they didn't have to be in one cohort, but they had the opportunity to expand and pursue a variety of interests. And the word inclusive has been brought up, and it is real. It is a truly inclusive school. Both of my children have friends. Both of my children are part of a very supportive community, and they are both very unique people. And that does not always happen in a school. And as an educator, I have seen this over many, many years. And so I am just so grateful for the master's program and that my children are a part of it. Thank you.
Next, we have Kelly Kohler.
Good morning. Kelly Kaler, that's K-E-L-L-E-Y, K-O-E-H-L-E-R. Not one child should not have to choose between their education and their well-being and their safety. I've really appreciated hearing all the wonderful comments about TMP, which I've had a good experience several years ago, but that wasn't the case this last year. My daughter attended TMP last year and was an active in the Freedom Ambassadors leadership. I served on the TMP Governing Council, was tasked with and co-founded the Parent Family Community. Initially, I was once an outspoken supporter of TMP, on record as praising the school in the Santa Fe New Mexican twice. The moment I raised concerns about disconcerting behavior by a TMP male contractor, which was followed by inappropriate text messages to my daughter, retaliation started. The very night I reported my concerns, the head of school canceled the school-wide event. My daughter, I, and others had worked weeks to organize. It was scheduled for the next day. Shortly after, my daughter was denied the chance to take the PSAT. We were told by email that she was no longer a sophomore. Next, the head of school singled out my daughter, interrogating her to tears about her minor involvement in a widespread cheating incident. Her advisor, Anita Nugent, witnessed this abusive interrogation. In December, I voted against an excessive lump sum salary bonus for the head of school. My daughter was disenrolled from TMP the next day. The stress from that landed her in the ER, which she was reluctantly released the next day with a stress-related heart condition. TMP re-enrolled her a few days later, which proves her disenrollment was not only traumatizing, but illegal. In January, I sent an email to the GC raising concerns about the head of school being fired for harassment at a past school. I immediately received a cease and desist letter. I apologize. Banning me from TMP. A defamating email was circulated to TMP SFCC staff, and I was voted off the GFC within days, all for upholding GC duties to ask questions and request transparency. There are active case numbers with the New Mexico Public Education Department. I'm not sure what's happened. I haven't been in contact since April. Is the Charter Renewal Committee ready to make the risk of more students, parents, and teachers being abused? Thank you for your time today. I'm sorry for the news that I have to say. I'm sad.
Next on our list is Theo. No. Yep. You can do it better than me. You can say it better than I can.
So it's Ceridwen. So there are two things I want to address. I'm trans, non-binary, and a queer person. So despite what you might have read in the Santa Fe Reporter, Carla Haas-Moskowitz has always encouraged me to use the bathroom of my choice. So I've never had a problem there. The second thing is I was hired last year in September as a substitute teacher, and then in February I had top surgery. I didn't have any PTO. My colleagues came together and donated their PTO. If they had not done that, I would not have been able to pay my rent. I would not have been able to buy food right after having a double mastectomy. So I just want to say thank you so much for welcoming me into your community so quickly. Thank you.
Next, we have Kristen Carlisle. And you don't need to hold the microphone too close, any of you, okay? So, like here.
Hi, I'm Kristen Carlisle, Christincarlisle. I have 15 years of teaching experience, including recently at the master's program. Before TMP, I never had to contact a school board or state authorities about violations at any school I worked at. But TMP stands alone in its severe violations. Oh, I'm sorry. The PED and PEC have a duty to uphold students' rights. If they fail, they neglect their most basic responsibility. Approving a full recharter without conditions would endanger children. Let me explain why. The current head of school has abused vulnerable students, including sexually explicit mockery of my Latino student, saying she could disenroll a student due to a learning disability, and brutally retaliating by disenrolling a student, re-enrolling her, and openly accusing her of faking her heart condition. Students' rights to learning time have also been abused. I estimate a deficit of roughly 200 instructional hours last school year, about 2 months of education stolen from students. I also have evidence of roughly $250,000 wasted on teacher stipends, much of it funding non-existent or undocumented activities. Retaliation at TMP is targeted at those who expose its failures. As just one example, when Dr. Boyd and I filed complaints about special education violations, our Power School accounts were immediately shut down. I do not believe the abuse is over. The PEC flagged TMP's Part B recharter application for failing to meet staff credentialing standards. And if the school claims that all hires this year were licensed and free from violent criminal histories, I have documents proving that's not true. I'm nearly done, just my last few sentences. Approving a long-term charter renewal without oversight would show blatant indifference to accountability. Please support the school's truly incredible children by approving short-term renewal with conditions and close oversight. We owe it to them. Thank you.
Next, we have Karen James.
Good morning. My name is Karen James. First name is Keren. Last name James. My 16-year-old son is twice gifted as a neurodivergent gifted student. In addition, my son has a physician-diagnosed autoimmune illness, anxiety, and autonomic dysfunction. During the 2023-2024 academic year, Carla Haas-Moskowitz, Christopher De Jesus, and Norma Moreno at the master's program consistently discredited and invalidated my son's medical diagnoses. They withheld his initial 504 accommodations and his IEP from his instructors, withheld instructional materials and a textbook, and withdrew the homebound instruction they created for him and built into his IEP. I am in the process of filing a formal complaint with the New Mexico Public Education Department, as I did not have the capacity or bandwidth to do this last year due to my son's illness and the abuse and gaslighting of the school. It has come to my attention that much of the abuse that was perpetrated and the violation of my son's IEP and his rights under federal IDEA law may be a direct result of the lack of oversight of charter schools. I thereby request that the committee delay their decision regarding the renewal of TMP's charter until more information has been gathered and proper oversight established. In addition, it is my hope that these 3 individuals will be removed from their positions at TMP and that they never again be allowed to serve in roles related to children or students. Thank you.
Next, we have Roxanne, and I'm not going to try.
Buen día, es un honor de hablar con ustedes. Good morning, it's an honor to speak with you all. I am not here to speak one way or another. Oh, Seagraves, Roxanne Seagraves, S-E-A, G as in gravy, R-A, V as in Victor, E-S, Seagraves. I am the Director of Bilingual Education here at the Master's Program. When I arrived at the school, I noticed that we had a large number of Hispano-Hablante students, but we did not have the opportunity for them to earn the bilingual seal on their diplomas. In addition, we have Native American students and Arab-speaking students who needed an opportunity to have their world languages and indigenous languages celebrated. So, picking up the ball and working with Carla Haas-Moskowitz and Ernest Kavanaugh, we put the program in place, and last year graduated 14 students with the bilingual seal. We have an additional 17 students signed up for the seal who are seniors this year. There usually are 5 to 12 that come in later at the very last minute to take the test and prepare for it. I have a list of another 25 students in lower grades who have signed up for the seal. I also coordinate and organize programs for our students in international travel. I took 25 students from TMP to Panama last summer. We had a really amazing trip and they learned a great deal. Sandra, who you saw on the video earlier, went with us and is going to come with us on our next trip, which is to Costa Rica in summer of 2026 as a chaperone. It's an opportunity for students who have been raised in Santa Fe and in many ways sheltered because we're kind of like an island in the desert, who then have an opportunity to see the world, and especially the Hispanohablante and Hispanic worlds beyond the cultures that they know in Mexico and New Mexico. It's been a great pleasure to teach at the master's program. And again, my name is Dr. Roxanne Seagraves. Thank you.
Next, we have Norma Moreno.
Hello, my name is Norma Moreno. My last name is Moreno. I am a new teacher at TMP. I'm also an adjunct professor through SFCC. I have a doctorate in depth psychology with an emphasis in somatics. And I want to speak, I'm also a parent for 2 students that are at TMP. I have a senior and a junior at TMP. So I want to speak to the fact that education and learning really takes a village. As a parent, I have the responsibility to educate my students, my own children, about what it is to be a student and what it takes to be successful in learning and to get an education, especially having gone through a whole doctorate program. I greatly value education. And I think it's something that we don't really consider much as parents, what our roles are. And I think it's important that parents fight for their children's rights, but I also think it's very difficult for a student to really get an education when the parent's perspective is also not, is looking through their education through certain filters. There is a saying, hurt people hurt people. And it's very difficult for us as educators to work with students when the parents aren't willing to work with us. And, you know, I got a chance to work with Karen's son. He's a wonderful student. He does have a lot of medical conditions. I don't recall ever making fun of his medical conditions or anyone at the school ever making fun of his medical conditions. What we did say was,
Excuse me, I just need to remind people that you're not allowed really to talk about, to name specific kids or staff.
okay. So I just wanted to say, I think we need to remember that education doesn't just fall on staff and administration. It really takes a whole group of people. And as parents, we have to take our own responsibility. As educators, we have to take our own responsibility. The board plays a part, administration plays a part. And to try and blame just one entity, to me, is unfair.
Next, we have Diana Boyd.
Hi, my name is Diana Boyd.
Dianaboyd. I have a math PhD. I've been a math teacher for about 30 years, including 5 years at TMP. In early 2024, I alerted leadership to concerns about special education practices, later deemed by the PED to be 2 violations of state and federal laws. I was then pushed out of my teaching job, immediately placed on an indefinite administrative leave. Math proficiency scores at TMP have fallen from 31% to 17%, despite diversity at the school for, since I've been there for 5 years. It also appears at that time, the special education director got a promotion, a raise, and the superintendent moved into his house. The top 3 administrators at the school cost the school about $400,000 annually, with an additional $337,000 spent on outside consultants. Is that effective use of public funds? A 2023 Title IX claim against TMP resulted in a determination of discrimination based on sex and sexual orientation, citing hostility and unprofessionalism in the workplace and placing blame on the governing council for lack of oversight. As recent as May 2024, TMP leadership declared in reference to my using a public restroom. This is a quote. A lesbian teacher must use extra care in being diligent and professional and not putting herself at undue risk. And I'll ask you, what risk is that? The PED must question if TMP is safe and inclusive for LGBTQIA students and people. Is the volunteer unvetted TMP council with a recently resigned president up to the task of necessary oversight? The schools across the board decreasing proficiency scores, ongoing problems, violation of state and federal law suggests the answer is no. I urge you to put restrictions on the recharter, possibly requiring leadership restrictions, possibly placing TMP under the guidance of the Santa Fe Public School System Administration. Bottom line, students continue to seek support with school concerns.
You have to wrap it up. I apologize.
Okay, last sentence. A school where remaining staff might feel afraid to advocate for students is an unsafe environment.
I'm speaking directly to the attendees on Zoom right now. If you continue to raise your hand and you were not signed up for public comment, you will be exited out of the webinar. Next, we have in the room, Michaela. Okay, well, they can't keep raising their hand. Michaela, are you a student ambassador? Did you already speak? I can't read your last name. Okay, now there you are.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Micaela Balladares, Balladares. I am a freshman at TMP, and I would want to apologize for the situation that I have been hearing, but I also want to advocate for myself and everyone else how amazing I think this school is to everybody. And I personally did not want to go to TMP, but my parents pushed me because my sister went there and she has said amazing things about it. And I personally wanted to experience how it would be for me. And it personally has made me more confident in doing this, speaking to people. And this Leadership 2 class has helped me a lot as well into opening my opportunities and trying to find myself and to see what I want to do as a person. And I think all the teachers, they really try to have a personal connection with you, which is great. And
really open opportunities to people and others. And I also want to say how amazing this has been for me because it truly has made me more confident and changed my whole perspective in seeing the world as well, to know how like a step up in life, how it can be. And I want to thank the teachers and Ernest and everybody for the opportunities, and thank you for your time.
Next, we have Savannah Gallegos. You already spoke. How about Jocelyn Newhall?
My name is Jocelyn Newhall, Jocelyn Newhall, Newhall. I'm currently a freshman at the master's program, and I've really enjoyed it so far. I had heard about the master's program from a friend of mine who is currently a junior at the school, and I was accepted a week before school started. So I went into orientation week a little thrown off, but everyone was very helpful, and all of the teachers have been really nice and accepting and helping me when I need help, especially Ernest. He is very helpful, and I'm in his leadership 2 class and student council, and he has helped me find my voice and be able to come up here and speak today. I really enjoyed TMP, and I wish it to continue. Thank you.
Okay, and then finally in the room, Cesar. You already spoke. Okay, that's what I thought. And now we'll move to the folks online, starting with Aaron. Please spell your last name, and then I will start the timer for 2 minutes.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm so appreciated with my teachers. Like they
Aaron,
help me.
Aaron, can you please tell us your last name and spell it?
Yeah, Flores, Flores.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
So I would first like to start with all my teachers, including Ernest. Even though I'm not in Freedom Ambassadors, I would say he's still a helpful teacher that you could go to whenever you feel depressed or something. You feel something that is not going right. And I would like to appreciate Sabrina because she's been helping me in math a lot. And I've been learning a lot of math that I couldn't figure out the first days. And I would like just to appreciate all my teachers because they see me work hard in all my classes. They want the best for me, and I hope to graduate in 4 more years.
Thank you very much. Next online we have Amaya Aramillo. Maya, are you available? I will check back with Amaya to see if she is available. Amaya, when you come back to the computer, if you could please just raise your digital hand. We will go to Judy Lopez. You can unmute. Please spell your last name.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Judy Lopez, Lopez. I just wanted to talk about my niece that has frequently expressed concerns about the teachers at TMP. She has noted that there's several troubling behaviors, and she feels many teachers display a lack of disrespect towards students and only show concern when it benefits them personally. She has observed that some teachers do not treat students equally, only addressing issues when it directly impacts them, and seem predisposed to discipline students who have been in trouble before. She has observed, oh, I'm sorry. She believes these practices create a biased and unsupportive environment. Additionally, the school has had legal issues in the past, including a recent lawsuit and a recently dismissed and highly disrespected teacher without a clear justification. Given these issues, my niece questions the school's commitment to fostering a fair and respectful learning atmosphere. I am also concerned that the school is more concerned about the electronics part than a safety part. As the school is an open campus, any random individual could walk in and do something to the school. I think this is incredibly dangerous. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing the outcome of this.
Thank you. Next, we have Natalia Dominguez. Natalia, I see you've unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Okay, Natalia, I'll come back to you if you can try to work on your microphone. We will go to I no longer see Kimberly Bowen. We will go to Jennifer. Jennifer, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name either.
It's Rushline.
Yes, we can hear you.
It's Rushline. And I had a kid there who
Can you please
graduated.
spell, can you please spell Rushline?
Sure. I figured you had it online. REUSCHLEIN.
Thank you. And it's for the court reporter. She's not in the room. So go ahead.
Yeah, I had a child graduate a year early 2 years ago. He was happy with the program. I was happy with the program. I have a child in there now who has experienced the Panama trip, which was fantastic. I'm glad that there was opportunity for that. It does get support from DJ and the IEP special education department. I also have had no grievances and have been supported very well for that. I appreciate the flexibility in the schedules and the assistance that I've received from the teachers. It seems like every time I need to reach out, they're very responsive via email and to any concerns I have. So I'm hoping that they will continue the charter and that we'll continue to be able to provide this to as an alternative to the schools that we have in the Santa Fe community. I do think that that needs to continue. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going back to Amaya Jaramillo. Are you with us? All right. I will try Natalia Dominguez again. Again, I see you've unmuted. We still do not hear you. I'm very sorry, Natalia, we cannot hear anything from your end. What would the chair like me to do about our two people?
If they're not there, we're going to have to move on.
That concludes public comment.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take a 10-minute break.
I don't even know how to say, when would I say Madam Commissioner? Or I speak? Madam. I don't know what you want to be. Commissioner. Yep, she's in Madam. President. Goes a long way. Any commissioner. It's okay, doesn't matter. So, only thing we can control is our actions. Their functions demonstrated their body and I don't know what I need. And I'm like, I don't know either. Just
What do I hear? No, it sounds like rain. I hear.
The memory goes, you know.
You ready? Okay. Commissioner Carrillo?
Just initially for the public, and probably all of you here know this, but for the public especially, you know, remind people that MASTERS is an acronym. And what is it an acronym for? And it's yes, obviously the MASTERS program, math, arts, science, technology, English, reading, and service. Because we never think of the scope of that. So I just wanted to remind everyone about that. Thank you. There you go. You to me.
So as we continue to try to keep things we have a work session after this as well, and I want to make sure that everyone is heard. I'm going to ask folks to keep the applause down because it's just taking up time. I appreciate your support and your efforts, but we can't clap at everything. So thank you. And I'm also going to ask the audience to please be very mindful. This is a public meeting, and from the audience, it's not acceptable for people to be making comments during the meeting. So you will be asked to please not do that. Commissioner Burt.
Thanks. Thank you for being here today. It's actually been a while. I have come to the master's program before, not in this role. I came last in 2017 to visit the master's program and see what it looked like on campus. Really cool. I'm actually a huge fan of early college high schools. I have one of my children is in an early college high school in Albuquerque. And I think the opportunities that was highlighted over and over again by all these students. I mean, when your electives options are an entire college catalog, I mean, I don't know what more choice you could possibly ask for as a student. And especially, I love the students who don't know what they're going into. They don't know who they are, what they want to do when they're 30 years old. Because once again, you have the entire community college catalog to figure it out before you get into, trying to get into your bachelor's degree. So what a great opportunity. And yeah, just huge support of early college high schools, especially done well in providing opportunities to students to get that associate's degree, to get a certificate, and be ready for the next level of college or a career right away. A degree to career right out of high school, incredible. I do want to say I've had roles actually in the PED before in which we've worked with lots of families, folks about processes in education. And I will say, I do want to let folks know that you're not in the wrong forum. You never have to apologize for bringing any kind of concerns, issues to address the commission ever. But there are established processes in place that would really encourage those processes to be followed and followed all the way through so that we can do things to act on them. So the commission's role is not to be a part of those investigations. It's not to be a part of that level of engagement when there's issues that come up at a school, but there are established processes that are available to any family, any student, any teacher. There are processes that can be followed when things are not happening at a school in the way that they should. So I don't want anybody to feel unheard because I'm not going to base my decision today around the complaints. But we do have processes. Once those complaints are looked at, once they're gone through with the right process, that's when we as the commission can take a look at those results of those investigations and be able to take action at that point. But right now, we're at a space where we do have an incredible application, really good data to support a school continuing serving students, but that doesn't ever eliminate the option for us to take action at any time in the future once we have some results from PED departments, from other agencies that do those investigations. So I know I always think it's hard when you come and you have a frustration, a complaint, and to feel like, why did we even do this? Or, I'm going to feel unheard in this moment, but it's just because we're not necessarily the right avenue for those issues at this time. So definitely heard, and we'll be looking at how those results of those complaints come about. But today, I do want to take a look at the application, look at the results, talk about what's going on at the school that I have in black and white. And one of the things I will say that I did see is a commitment to improvement in this school. And that's one thing that I do appreciate. Sometimes when I see schools who will have a lot of audit findings, they'll just keep going, right? You just keep doing the same thing, keep working with the same folks over and over again, and results don't really change. So I do actually admire when something goes wrong and a board's like, nope, we're not doing that. And so I am grateful. It was a very alarming, right? To see the previous year with so many greens and just a yellow, and then the next year have all those financial issues at the school is concerning. So the fact that the governing board saw it and was like, whoa, we're not doing this. Let's get someone else in. Let's do this differently. And to have that commitment of moving forward with greater transparency, with making sure the processes are being followed. That's what I would ask for from a school. It's never going to be I never expect a school to be full of just all greens. And actually, the fact that the year before that it was almost all greens is, I mean, it's commendable. But I expect things to not be perfect in a school. Like that's an unrealistic expectation for everything to always be a perfect green, right? So I love seeing when a school has a yellow and then the next year they don't, or a school has a red, the next year it's a yellow, the year after that's a green. That's what the expectation is. And that's what I feel like I did see in the data was any kind of dip on anything was looked at and some actions were taken because the next year doesn't seem to be the same issue recurring over and over and over again. So I am grateful for that school. And I know that's something that impacts students directly. Because when those pieces don't, when stagnation kind of happens, and I think that could happen even in a high performing school where it looks like data wise, it looks like the students are performing. But if the administration's stagnant, the procedures are stagnant, everything's stagnant underneath, it's still not providing the quality of education that could be there, right? Maybe it was good before, but it could have been better. And I like that it looks like it's on an upward trajectory at this school. And I do appreciate that. I actually don't have a ton of negative things to say because I really looked through and I was trying to find, what are these pieces that really need to be looked at in these next term. But I feel like, unless with the new business manager, if the financial issues continue, I'd be concerned. But it being 1 year of your contract and then to see that you made that change so quickly to improve that, it doesn't leave me with any concerns to renew the school for 5 years with no conditions. So thank you for being committed to adult improvements and making sure that the access to students isn't going to go away. Because I do think students deserve to have access to college classes in high school. Those first 2 years, like for kids who go through as AP students in a traditional high school, right? Those first 2 years of college are usually a repeat of what you just did your junior, senior year. So to allow these students to have access and skip over that and have a rigorous coursework and actually have that be something that they carry with them on a transcript literally for their whole lives, right? Oftentimes we talk about high school, and once you get that transcript, it never goes anywhere after college, right? This early college high schools are the one case where your high school transcript, it does follow you for your whole life. And that's an incredible, what a value savings, what a learning opportunity for students. And I love that they're all encouraged to continue moving after they get out of this school. So just wanted to say thank you to you all.
So, yeah, thank you all for being here. What a great group, and it's always encouraging to see so many people come in support of a renewal or a new school approval. I did have a question, maybe just some clarification on the mission specific goals. You talked about that a little bit. As is, it sets you up for failure almost every time. And I know that you're processing how that's going to change. And by the way, I love the way that you're addressing that. It sounds like a more appropriate way to really deal with. I mean, our goal is not to have numbers of people. Our goal is to make sure that people are ready for college, and for life in general. But what is your timeline for making those changes? And do you have some specific ideas about how that's, what the mission specific goal is going to be? Just so that you don't have those ugly does not meet, for those goals.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, for that question. This is a very exciting topic for me because when I was hired and I learned about the mission-specific goals and understood that they were about quantity and not quality, I immediately thought, well, this doesn't make sense for me educationally. I wanted to find out a little bit about the whys, like what was the thinking behind doing that? And I interviewed quite a few people and got the stories, and I think it was well-intentioned. And I'm only spending a little bit on that because I always, before I go forward with what I believe is true or best, I really want to understand, well, what happened? Why, what contributed to that? And ultimately, it looked like there were some pieces in place at the college to support it, a first year seminar course with credit that we could put all the freshmen in. And then there was a thinking, well, we'll just put all the freshmen in there. And then that course didn't continue and then it didn't work. And so those are the kinds of vulnerabilities that happen when that is the thinking. And I think it was well-intentioned, definitely. Where I come from, as a educator for almost 50 years and watching students grow and develop, and have 2 children myself, very different learners, what was college, and then thinking about my own college experience, I kept coming back to what does it really mean to be prepared? And so anecdotally, and I also think statistically, and I did a little bit of homework around New Mexico, and we're also looking at retention in college. So that makes preparation and readiness even more important. The other thing I want to mention is that if students felt good about taking a college class and then having to feel like they needed to drop it felt good to them, then I would say, go for it. Let's just try, see what sticks. But it doesn't feel good for them either. And so what I wanted to do was find that kind of sweet spot of blending the college experience for all of our students, grade 9 through 12, so that it would be an encouraging experience, if that makes sense. And that doesn't mean it doesn't have challenge or that it doesn't provide opportunities for them to take risks and feel like they need to buck up or understand that maybe their assumptions about themselves and what they know have to be challenged. All of that is part of it. But like John Holt says, you don't teach a person how to ski by breaking their leg. And so that is what I think about when I think about how do we really prepare people to do what we say we're going to do. And that was the questions that when I was hired, I asked. We say that this is what our mission says that we're going to do. We are an early college. So let's do it. Let's prepare students for career and college on their own terms, and also to invite them into spaces where they can understand that they're navigating systems of power, which I think is sometimes overlooked when we support students to go to school, if that makes sense. So the specifics are this. I'm a bit of a constructivist, and so I like co-constructing learning experiences with students. And so specifically, what I'd like to see us do, and we've begun the process, we brought in Canvas, so all of our teachers, well, there's a couple that are still in Google Classroom, but I think that by the end of this year, that may shift. So we're moving towards, we're all on Canvas, and that syncs with Power School. And Santa Fe Community College uses Canvas. So part of it is right away, feel comfortable with this platform. Synchronous and asynchronous learning, we've integrated that. So practicing in supervised settings for them to find success. So those are some, we've been doing that. I mean, the work has started. So as soon as I saw the mission goals and I said, we're going to shift it not because of that, but because what's best practice for an early college? What is best practice for a high school? And so I would say almost everything that was suggested and implemented in the past year and a half was to that end, to be the best high school we could be, the best early college that we could be. And they go hand in hand. And so creating that learning environment with technological support, I think the staff staff has almost doubled, and we needed to do that. We needed to bring in more people in different roles, college and career advisor, for example, to support our registrar. And that was just for me, that was kind of a no-brainer, and working even more closely with Davis and looking at other scholarships and FAFSA nights and all the things that help support logistically students for understanding how to even get into college. The Pathway programs has received tremendous support. We do have a CTE grant, but we also have our own funds that we're putting into what are these pathways? How can the courses that the students are taking, how do they actually fit together rather than be too random that they run out of opportunities to take college classes and then they go, oh, now I know what I want to do. We put our student assistance fund, it's a very generous fund. We buy welding kits that are not supported through state fundings, other types of career-oriented materials that our students need that they know they want to be welders, and they have these welding kits. So some of them are very logistic like that. As far as the academic and curricular piece, so with Canvas, there is an e-portfolio option that I'm a big fan of, and that's where students can show evidence of learning. And as a teacher, I use it in my classes. That's how I assess their learning, is through the e-portfolio. Other teachers use other types of assessments. So I would like to see us have a 9th grade portfolio that goes all the way through to 12th grade. And I would like to see the evidence that they put in there are the criteria that we set. They are clearly outlined in our mission statement, and I think those are qualifications that would be really great for students to show evidence for. How am I compassionate? How am I engaged? How do I do service? And then I think that we have begun to identify, and our leadership team has already spent meeting time looking at some of the research-based qualities that, I mean, some of them are obvious, like that have to do with confidence, self-reliance. There's certainly knowledge base that students need, but a lot of it has to do with their internal workings, their time management. For me in college, and I was a really good high school student and a very, very poor beginning college student, as I didn't know how to use adults as resources. I didn't know how to navigate systems. And that, I think you heard from our students, just by being around the students, you can see that they're learning how to do that because it's modeled for them as well. So, I mean, I can go on and on about it because I'm very excited about it, but we're already doing it, and they're very concrete steps. The students are already beginning to engage, and it's about demonstrating and celebrating the proficiency to be able to do that. Scaffolding, supporting, and some of it just has to do with just being there with the students, having advisory and having the advisors check in and say, so how are you doing in that composition class? And then seeing how we can support them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's that, and that's I mean, that's great. I love that you've put so much time into that, and the focus, as you said, is not the quantitative part of it, at all. But the other thing is that an amendment needs to happen, right, in order to change that mission specific goal. So you're not still wallowing in that existing goal.
So we have been on board, I think, as a school with the new vision since the beginning of my tenure there. And again, it doesn't mean that we don't use data. We still want to know how many of our students have been successful. What kind of courses are they taking? So I'm working now on creating a couple databases that are really important to me. And one of them is going to be so I can start doing some more longitudinal studies about our students. Where are they? How did TMP prepare? What kinds of courses did they take? What supports? And that is something that we're working on this next semester. And so it's really important to me not only to find our alum and track, but the alumnal, the longitudinal studies using our alum are really important to inform what it is that we're doing as well. And so there's a lot of data to collect, to go forth. But I think philosophically, what we're looking for is how do you demonstrate readiness for career and college. So thank you.
So thanks once again, and everyone who came, took the time out to speak, especially students who it's a little bit of a heavier lift to come and speak before any public body. So really do appreciate it. One of the great things about this is we get to hear all these stories. And this has been, for the most part, 3 really good days because we've heard from students, we've had presentations, and it's been a celebration of the school. One of the frustrating parts about what we do is when we do have individuals come and express concerns to us, and it isn't we can't do anything about it because we're not the mechanism to do that. We get reports from agencies when there's a finding, and then we can act on the finding. But we have no ability to act on accusations. It doesn't mean we don't hear them and aren't affected by them. And the angst that we have is that individuals aren't going through the channels that they need to so that we can get, if there are findings, that we can get them. And it may seem like a simple request for us to delay this until we get more information, but we're statutorily limited. We have to make a decision by January 1 for this. So we have a cycle of renewal that statute limits us with, so that this is the time period for this renewal hearing, so that we can make the appropriate decision. So we have no authority to delay for months until we get additional information. So that I just, and I know that's been communicated to people, but I just want to reinforce that it wasn't that it was heard. We can't do that. So, I mean, I'm going to say kudos for a lot of the great work, but I am going to ask, so one of the dips, I think it was last year in the performance framework, and there were a few more greens, a few more yellows, and maybe a red, I'm not sure. But then there was a big changeover on the board. Did that happen at the same time?
No, actually, it happened over time. I've been with the board for a year and a half. At the time I joined the board, there was some transition. We had an outgoing board president, and a new president was appointed. We had some people come and go just for whatever reason. They could, it's a true commitment of time and effort. We're at a position right now where we have added some tremendous valued members to the board that bring with them knowledge that we need. We have a lawyer on our board, for example. We have a person with financial expertise. I happen to be associate dean at Santa Fe Community College, so I have the connections to the college, and I'm there on a daily basis to see how TMP functions and how it interacts with the college. So yes, there's been some transition. I don't think it's been terribly unusual. We've made changes to ensure that we are within compliance with regards to our training and any sort of other compliance issues that we have. Our secretary of the board, Dorianis Paris, keeps us on track. Also keeps us on track with our monthly meetings and recordings and being completely transparent with the public.
Thanks. And maybe I'm reading the chart wrong, because it looked like there were maybe 5 new this last year. And I could just be,
You can pull that up if you would like.
I'll owe it a lot of those, misreadings. Am I reading that wrong?
There are currently 2 members of the board that have been there significant amount
Correct.
of time.
There were those 2.
Yes.
But then it looked like there were 5 or 6 that just came on this year.
Yes.
Okay, so just in general, that's one of the indicators to us that there's a concern when you have a large, 5 out of 7 or 6 out of 8, I'm not sure.
So they have 3 continuing members and 3 new members.
Okay,
this year.
so that was me. Okay. So I'm less concerned. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can often read those charts wrong, so I appreciate the clarification, because I thought I was reading it wrong. Yeah, yeah.
They might have had some members that joined and then left. That happens now that the state no longer requires board members to have any training before they're voted on. Some people find that the commitment is not for them. And so there might be some people who joined and then left and then didn't get any. So, but
Okay, we're good. Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. So I have less of a concern of that. So thanks. And I do appreciate the fact that things are identified and the school works on it. So I do appreciate that. But I am going to ask, because the application does ask to report if there were any complaints filed. And I know we've got the Office of Special Ed, the OSE complaint, that's been identified. Were there any other complaints like Title IX? Because the application did ask, and there was no response to that. So have there been other complaints filed beyond the OSE complaint that we have identified?
In the well, the ones that I know of, I felt what I did report. There was a Title IX, and that was
I
closed.
don't see that in the application.
Okay.
When I looked at the application, I didn't see a response to it. And I asked the director if she had because you're supposed to upload a copy of it.
Oh, I'd be happy to, I would be more than happy to upload a copy of it. It's been investigated and closed. So I felt that, I didn't know whether that was.
Well, the application specifically says that. And it wasn't identified in the application.
Okay. And then that was an oversight on our team, so I apologize for that. But that went on most of the last semester. It was fully investigated and it was closed.
Okay, thank you. And I don't want to get into the what is. That's not what we're here for. Okay, so I just needed some clarification on that. Otherwise, I don't have any concerns at this point in time. Oh, Commissioner Brower, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the students. It's great to be broken records up here to just say how great it is to have young people here and to show their leadership, to show clarity and confidence about who they are, the self-awareness that it takes to be in front of a bunch of strangers up here in the dais. And so congratulations to you all. Thank you for sharing more about the TMP story. I've only been there a couple times prior to being a commissioner, and I just know you all are doing some really, really great work. I have just a few questions and then just one comment. First off, congratulations on the operational cash balance that you all have. Like you have over $2 million in your cash, and that is equivalent to 155 days of cash on hand. So I think that's wonderful. My follow-up question to that is, what are you going to do with all that? If you don't mind, if you have plans, you don't have to tell me exactly, but I was just curious what your thoughts are. Probably FTEs, it sounded like. I'm putting some 2 and 2 together, but I was just curious if you had other larger scale plans.
So Commissioner, thank you for that question, because I also love talking about finances. So coming to the master's program from charter schools from out of state, I was surprised to learn that it was common to have business managers, companies that manage the budget, because I've always managed the budgets wherever I've been. And so with all due respect, one of the reasons that I recommended to the board that we make the changes, I wanted a smaller, more partnership oriented, because I had lots and lots of questions to figure out, well, so again, what's the history here of where did the money come from? How can I spend it? What's the unique funding sources in New Mexico? So fundamentally school budgeting is the same, but there are some unique aspects to it. So it was a lot of learning about it, and realized that not only did we have a strong, as you said, balance, but we also had to spend it. We had to spend it. And so I spent it as strategically as possible. And my priority was to look at the mission and make sure that our budget reflected our priorities. Our budget reflected what we said was important. And so for me, number one, or one of the number ones, I guess maybe there are more than one, is people. And I think that the young people, our students, will tell you that what makes TMP is the staff. And so we clearly needed more. And more isn't always better, because you can enlarge an organization and make things so complicated and chaotic that it isn't always good. But we did need more people. And we also needed job descriptions and put people, and there was an attempt at kind of a massive reorganization that was that cost money, to bring people in, professional development, and offering the resources that those teachers wanted, and not just teachers, because our staff, they're all teachers. I mean, we're all educators. And so making sure that they had what they needed in terms of space, in terms of just office materials, textbooks, if they wanted that, professional development, and just materials for the classroom to create, because another thing that shifted was needing to get more classroom space. And so we said, "I will lease it. We just need more space." And the college has been great in giving. I have 6 new classrooms since I've come on. And so just getting a classroom, you want to make it warm and inviting. And so part of it was the school previously, I think because it had interpreted early college as adjunct, like everybody was like a college adjunct. But for me, we're a high school first. And so we assigned rooms to people so they could create those spaces, which they did. And so when they want more storage or more art materials to integrate into English class, or we're developing a maker space, hired a amazing new STEM teacher we're turning a room into a science room, which involves all kinds of things like electrical outlets being, a certain way. So there's all those things. There's new tables and chairs where we want to redevelop the atrium, the center of our school where the students congregate, because some of the places where the students sit are not up to par, and we want them to be comfortable, and they're helping to weigh in on what those look like. And so it's people, it's materials for the classroom, and yeah, it's stipends. And so, and the stipend continues. So at the beginning, staff, we had half the staff, we had a large turnover of staff. It wasn't just, we had a significant turn. When I came on, we hired new people to replace people who had left, and in additional people. So just figuring out, how do we bring these people together so that they're talking to each other and they're not necessarily staying in their classroom? Like, how can we get them to really want to be together again? And so part of it was forming PLCs and committees to just make a lot of decisions about calendar, about activities, about curriculum, about all kinds of things. And they did it. They and I trust them. And they talked together and they worked on who they wanted to be as a school. And I can't tell you how joyous it is to be at the school these days, a year and a half later, to sit in that main office and see people having lunch together, talking together, meeting together, planning together, laughing. And that it was incentivized by extra time during lunch periods, after school, during breaks. And so it's investment. I'm trying to invest in what we say we're doing, and extra planning time. So I mean, and that's, so I want, strategically, we do have capital monies that we're putting in a student asked for a gender neutral bathroom when I first in our wing, and I put in, and it takes a while to build things at the college, and so, or even in your own home if you ever put in a bathroom, and it's twice as long or 3 times as long, and it's going in, and it should be done, we hope. We're spending money on just upgrades, like digitizing a lot of the files so that we can access them better. And the security systems, so people can't, just making sure our security systems technologically, so there's all kinds of things, and they're all strategic. I mean, I can go on and on
Thank
about
you.
it, but
No.
we'll spend it. But I also want, I guess, I don't want to use, I needed to work with a more transparent system, not that there was anything hidden, but I want to know each line item. So we now have department chairs that meet, we have a curriculum committee, and they're all doing budgets. So the year before we go into the year, we know, what is your budget? What do you need going ahead of time? Can you go and print a reader instead of make photocopies? So we're talking about all different ways of spending money and saving money. And so that then I'm now finally I can see each line. I can call Katie and Kim and others at Axiom and say, and day or night, they're showing me the information that I need to know. And so I feel like I can be a part of that and support. And we have a great business office with Margaret. We hired human resources. I mean, I can go on and on. So we've added a lot of folks to support our operations as well as our instruction.
Awesome. Thank you for that thorough response. I have a quick question. Do you all have paid internships with your students, or what's that look like? Because that's where I think in my mind, I think all that stuff you said was like great. When I think about there's additional funding, how is that supporting students directly in terms of opportunities? And I know as a early college school, a lot of that is wrapped in getting their college courses taken care of. But I was curious if you all had paid internships or work-based learning that happens also at the school.
We do, and that's also being expanded because you know, a good part of my teaching career, I was a swap teacher. So school to work action program and that whole, the idea of vocational education being education is in my DNA as an educator. And so in working with the staff, we have an interdisciplinary team and DJ can speak to that, and creating an entire program, identifying it as options, which is curricular as well as experiential. And so we have IDAB funds that we had this fledgling work study program last year that has been significantly expanded. We have now a handbook and a policy manual for work study students. Because I do payroll for the school, I process their timesheets, and they get paid, and they learn how to be workers. And I agree. I think it's the best possible way of learning is to be in it. And we hope to, and DJ and I have been meeting, and I said, we're just going to keep expanding it, and let's do conferences, get more kids involved, become a model program for student engagement and community. And then we have the Friday projects, which are service learning, and they are not paid, but they are prerequisites also and companion projects to our students who are working in the kitchen, who are working in the greenhouse, and we've got one doing a special research project in technology. So yes, an enthusiastic yes.
Just like to touch on that briefly, that we did start doing paid internships, which one actually individual that I've had experience with at a previous school that was actually in a center program for the majority of his elementary school. He had autism and was in that program and was never challenged. And when he came to TMP, we saw his potential, and currently he's in his second year of working in the cafeteria, which his supervisor says he's a natural. He's come out of himself. When he was, sometimes you'd have kind of outbursts, and he hasn't had outbursts in over a year because of the socialization that we're able to provide him, as well as he's in his first year of working towards a culinary certificate, which this student was in a center program for 7 years, never challenged. And when he got to TMP, we had the resources and the mindfulness of providing these services to this student. Another student that is ID, we gave her the opportunity to be in jewelry program, auditing the classes. And this young lady is in her 3rd class. And the other day she came up and said, "Hey, DJ, look at what I made. This beautiful ring that in any other school, they would have put these students in a center program or totally remediated what they were doing. But with Carla's vision and the support from the staff, we're able to provide these students with these amazing opportunities, and we're very much excited to expand this."
Great. Thank you so much. I have one other area that I had some questions around. Sorry, I'm looking at I think I have this memorized without looking at it on my computer, but I know that for your proficiency scores in reading, math, and science, each have gone down a little bit. Reading has gone down a little bit from last year. You had I think it was around 55% proficiency in 21, 22. You really spiked like 65 or 66%. Maybe it's a little bit higher than that. And you dipped back down to like 56 this year. With math, it was I know it was 30% last year, or 22, 23 this year. It's 17. So that's kind of like a alarm raising kind of dip. You basically have the amount of students who are proficient right now in science in math, and then science has had a subtle decline as well over the last 3 years of data that we do have. So I just wanted to hear about how is that. What are the areas of concern for you all? How are you thinking about the information that we have? Granted, I know stuff from last year just got, I know you've had it longer than we have, but I know it was just released this week. But I know you've all had that information beforehand. I'm just curious. I'm just wanting to hear a little bit. It's not going to affect my support of the school, but I do think that there is something to pay attention to, and there is a trend there across the 3 subject areas. And so I just wanted to hear your response to that.
Commissioner Rao, thank you. Board, thank you. There is, an illusion when you look at the two different sets of scores from 22-23 school year to 23-24. And the illusion is that these are the same students to see if they have grown or if they have mastered additional skills. And the reason being is when you look at the SAT and you're just using those particular scores, when you get the results, those are 11th graders for that particular year. And then when you take the next school year, you're looking at a different set of students. And so you cannot determine whether or not those students have grown or have lost any skills because it's a completely different set.
I'm so sorry. I'm just going to just interject this. I totally get that. I understand. I understand they're not the same students. I know it only happens at 11th grade, but it also is a trend that the 11th graders last year in reading were at a much higher level than the 11th graders this past year in reading. And I think that the trend results are like the 11th graders that in science and math have declined pretty dramatically. And so I just want to make sure you knew, like, I get the illusion. I understand where but I'm not at that level. I understand that. But I just wanted to see, like, what are you doing with the and this is the thing about, in my opinion, in high school, it's hard to have just one assessment that this all goes into, and I get that. But you all are in early college pathway, and 17% proficiency doesn't sound like college preparation to me. It doesn't tell the whole story. I get it. But I just, that's where I'm going. Like, what's happening to make sure that may have been a little bit more of an outlier, and in the next 5 years, we're going to pay attention to this, even if something changes and we have additional assessments, or if you decide on a different model with your partnership with us when we go to contracting. I'm worried when I see that like we're seeing a decline, where I think in early college school we should see like stronger results when it comes to math, science, and reading.
Okay, so for some more clarification, just to put those pieces out there, we are aware of that particular part. And that's why we wanted to broaden the results. So when we look at those particular findings, we wanted to make sure that we were looking at it through a whole bunch of different lenses, so that we were not making it just based off of SAT scores. And so then that's when we brought in NWEA maps, so that we could then look at our students as they go year to year, so we could determine how are these students approaching the next set of skills that have been presented in the curriculum that we are providing at TMP, and then what we are presenting for them to take when they go to Santa Fe Community College, or if whether they're taking classes that are sheltered dual credit, or if they're going to IAIA and working with that college also. And so then we're drilling down into those skill sets for those particular academic skills. But at the same time, as you know, we had our first goal for our charter was to say how many students were actually enrolled in college courses, and then whether or not we were meeting those as 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And we knew that was a very limited view. And so when we look at it and we say, what does the readiness mean? And what type of colleges are we looking at? Are we looking at a very traditional school that was maybe an Ivy League school that had a very specific pathway for its college? Were we meeting those particular skills? Are we looking at our students and saying, this is what we want them to meet? Or are we looking at it in a broader range? Because we have students who can attend college and aren't necessarily going to get a traditional 4-year bachelor's degree or a 5-year bachelor's degree, depending on what's going on. And so now we have implemented different pathways to help students try and find their way with their particular passion and their unique abilities. And so looking at just a range of your reading level is only at 50%. Does that mean that you're college or career ready? And if we're really looking at college, what type of college are we looking at for each individual student at our school? Is it a college that is going to prepare them post-secondary for a trade? And we're looking at sustainability, and they're looking at an engineering degree. And is that the trade that they're looking at? Is it really going on to STEM? So all of these particular pieces are coming back. So when we look at college readiness, we're looking at improving it all. And so our professional development is coming back to looking at this. We're looking at our programming. We're looking at in our advisory. How are we getting information from families and students? And the service component also allows them to have these pieces so that we can then determine which college is appropriate, how do we fill it into the next step plan, what is appropriate for this student to get to the next spot.
So let me share some of the academic pieces of your question. So there's a few logistical things we've done. We have almost doubled our numbers of students identified as English learners. And again, that is not problematic for us. That is an asset, and it's more people to be involved in our bilingual seal. But in working with our new chair of that program, I asked if she would have an individualized literacy goal, because in other places where I've lived in EL programs, you have ILPs, and then students who are identified with disabilities have IEPs or 504s. So now I think the more that we can have individualized learning plans for all of our students, and the next step plans are for all of the students. The ILPs are for students identified as being English learners. Our IEPs are identified with and then we have 504s. So some of that will help too. And I think overall, hiring actually four more special education teachers to increase the team of coaching and tutoring and what could be seen as intervention. There's a lot of problematizing terms involved in this, and you don't know me very well, and I don't like using them, but in a lot of ways, I don't want it to fall into something that looks like we're remediating a person, because we're not. What we're doing is we're finding the areas where they can use the most support. So the more data we get, which MAP gives us, which SAT and PSAT and the NM, New Mexico Assessment of Science Readiness gives us, is helpful, but not as helpful, because in MAP you get the immediate. And the student gets to be a partner in that and says, this is what, and then you are tested 4 times a year. So I think what you're asking is, what are we going to do? We anticipated the drop, because I mean that you can't sustain spotlight status, I don't think, if you're just looking at a smaller group of students and at one particular type of test that does not give you data to be able to really affect instruction. So I think that those are the biggest things: our learning lab, our 5th block, our homework help, our advisement, MAP data, and just looking at something that could be seen as intervention or being proactive in supporting students in their skill development. Because I'm also concerned, and not just for TMP, but I'm concerned about skill level, particularly in math, nationally.
Yeah, for sure. And that is a trend that we've seen, and we've seen 17% math proficiency already this week from other schools that are high performing in spotlight schools. So it takes all of us to prioritize that. One last thing, this is a little bit of a commentary. I won't repeat Chair and Commissioner Burt about what we've heard today, and a bit of the division that we're seeing, and some of the just the different experiences that we've heard. And I hope that everyone takes the proper measures to take care of that. But I also opened up the master's program handbook on your website, and I think that in these moments, this is where it behooves all of us to utilize our core values and to be driven by our core values. One of your big core values is respect. Respect for self, respect for others, respect for community, and respect for the environment. And I just hope that as we go through what I think is your school is going through, and of course there's due diligence and due process that's going to be happening, that I hope that that value of respect in all ways is continued to be upheld for everyone involved, and that's bi-directional. Thank you.
Commissioner Carrillo. Okay, you can go
Okay. Uh, in terms of, thank you for being here and thank you for the entertainment. Starting with, the quintet that was there. That was just, we love that. It just fills our hearts with joy when we see what our students are doing and they share with us what they're doing. And it reminds us all the time, not that this group needs reminding because we're pretty clear on what we're doing here, but it's just who we're serving, right? Because sometimes up here we get so involved in policy and minutia and the law and but then the joy stuff. That's what I'm here for. Okay. I don't know if Willow is still here, but when she spoke about being able to graduate with her associates in biology, things like that. It just this one of the reasons I love this school. And the gentleman whose name I didn't get, who's talked about as a result, I think, of his interactions with ambassadors and with Ernest. We'll get to you in a minute, Ernest. And wanting to go into law and politics. I think not enough people with the right mindset want to get involved in public service. And, running for office is so difficult, but serving the public, there's so much gratification in that, whether it's elected office or another field. And I was just looking at my notes. People felt honored and respected by staff. They felt safe in the school. They felt that everywhere they looked, and Commissioner Burt spoke to this, everywhere they looked there was opportunity, and that they were supported in exploring who they were in different opportunities and not being pigeonholed in one way or another. Very happy for that. Ms. Rue, I don't know if she's still here, spoke about the compassion and openness of staff. That just seemed to be, and I know there were people that had challenges with the school that spoke, but I also just really see kind of a trend, if you will, of people being supported by staff at the school and the people online as well. Okay, so now all that having been said, math is in the cellar, and I know that Chair Brower, we wanted maybe you to go back into that role someday. Never ever. Commissioner Brower touched on it. A lot of our schools are in the cellar, but just because so many of our schools are in the cellar, and that doesn't mean we accept this mediocrity as the norm. Oh, gee, our kids in New Mexico just can't seem to learn math, except for a few schools. What's your plan? You're knocking it out of the park in other ways. You're ahead of every so schools and districts and everyone in other ways. Math, what's your plan?
So I still believe, contrary to some philosophies, that to think mathematically is a beautiful thing. And so I'm starting with just promoting math as a beautiful thing, accessible to everyone. And there's a lot involved in that. So hiring passionate, creative teachers, and we've had those, and really trying to make it not only relevant, because relevancy comes up and people say, well, math isn't relevant. Well, of course math is relevant. We think mathematically all the time. However, there is a degree of abstraction to math, like there is in many things, that it takes some people a while to get. So what I want to do at TMP is really keep supporting math everywhere, math at every level, math in every subject. And we're getting there. I mean, the TMP has a long history of being a school that has disciplines, and that's how most high schools are. You're a social studies and an English teacher. I'm a special ed teacher. I teach this subject, but really in the end, I teach young people, and I attempt at times to teach myself and model that. And so for me, trying with some compassionate encouragement to staff and the community that we will become more interdisciplinary, more project-based, more invested in community education, so that we can fall in love with math everywhere. And it's a hard sell for some, particularly those who have taught a certain way or believed in it in a certain way. And I find that fine. It encourages us and invites us into engaging conversations, and we will have those. And with students and with teachers and with staff, and we will continue to look at that. I also want math to show up in multiple ways, in small groups, in individual coaching sessions, using more the tutoring center at the college. We have our own, learning lab. So I think it's more about helping students find their math self, their math voice. And I'm, one would call me an English teacher, and I could say the same about lots of things. But I think we all know, I think, that sometimes math is, has been a subject for people where there's even a concept of being math phobic, and we don't tolerate. I mean, you can be as afraid of as whatever you want, but we don't say that as staff. Like, I never say I don't do math, I'm an English person. There isn't that. Like, we all can do all of it. And we may all do it in different ways. And we may all come to that at different rates. And I think good schools, and TMP is one and will continue to be a better one, will offer opportunities at many, many junctures in many, many different ways. And sometimes that'll feel frustrating for some, and sometimes it'll all of a sudden the floodgates will open and they'll go, aha. And that is because we want to keep mixing it up. So we do use some technology, but primarily I think it's about bringing people in that are passionate, that model it truly, that make it exciting, and that are patient, really patient with a person's process to come into their mathematics self. And just role modeling that kind of learning as teachers and educators and staff members, that we are those kind of learners as well. I don't know if that's specific. I mean,
No, you totally answer, yeah.
Okay.
And I love you.
There's all kind, I can go.
No, I mean, it's funny. You could talk forever about the subject. It's like whenever somebody asks me about public schools in New Mexico, it's like, do you have the rest of the day? Because I just love to talk about schools and kids and our, So I love that you use the phrase finding their math self, because there was another school at a time where there is a math phobic thing that happens, where if people are in 6th, 7th grade, 8th, they start, maybe they're taking a pre-algebra, they didn't do that well, and all of a sudden they think, I'm not good at math. I can't do this. I'm not going to pursue this. And I personally, I mean, math is fun to me because math is exact. Math, you find an answer. And I just enjoy that. And it made me think of how we use the term writing across the curriculum. And I remember once, my son, for a very brief time, went to a private school. Well, he went to Desert Academy. I don't mind naming it. And when his counselor his counselor had said in his first meeting with us, Leo wasn't bringing home writing homework at all. Like, what? It's like, I'm like, Randy, what's the story here? Why is my son not bringing home any writing assignments? He said, well, we're really not focusing on that. We're not focusing on writing across the curriculum. And I was like, what? Actually, I said, WTF? That's what I said. And, Leo's mom was like, Steve. And I said, no, it's like you write across, you're constantly writing. Every subject should have a writing component. And I like that you said, I think of math across the curriculum, working in a component of mathematics into everything so people are more comfortable. And then also teachers learning how through professional development, how do you reach somebody who's math phobic? How do you, take off that armor for them and just have them be open to whatever's next relative to math? So relative to professional development, that might be something to look at very specifically, how to reach a kid that's math phobic and kind of turn that around for them. Because 17's not good. We have so many schools that are at 17 and below, but let's, come on, we can do better. I know TMP can do better. I know it. Your answer on quality versus quantity relative to college courses that Commissioner Taylor brought up. I loved your answer to that. There was someone I served with for a while in Santa Fe on the board, and she and I stressed more than anything proficiency. Don't talk to me about graduation rates. Talk to me about whether they can read and write and do math, because you can graduate with a D, okay? That's like getting out of bed in the morning. No awards for that, okay? You get awards for doing better than that. And so I really like that you were looking at that differently in terms of quality versus the quantity. I was going to save Ernest for last, but I'll do him now. The times, I've been to school many times. I'm grateful to Tina for the times you reach out to me and I'm able to attend different events. I don't know if Barb is still here. Same thing. It's just, I love being at your school. I love that because the kids are, you're on a college campus. It feels so good that way, right? So for kids that really kind of know they want to go that direction, I mean, I think TMP is an amazing place to be. And we heard that from a lot of the kids. I was able to attend one of Ernest's, or should I call you Mr. Kavanaugh? Is it okay if I just call you Ernest? Do we know each other well enough? All right. One of his classes in leadership and then also the graduation or the moving on kind of ceremony, if you will, for the ambassadors. And it was extremely moving, the confidence these young people had in speaking to their peers and to also everyone that attended. What they were, the ground that Ernest was covering in the leadership class. That's something you have at your school that I don't see at other schools kind of in any way. I mean, it's one thing to have it like Santa Fe High where, yeah, you've got your pool of kids, they're going to take kids on their tour if they're considering the school, but that's way different than the leadership, the ambassadors, and now this next level that you're doing. Super impressed. You're one of those people, I'm really sorry to say, that can never retire. Just is what it is. Okay, we'll build wheelchair ramps for you if we have to. Whatever you need, okay? And now I'll turn to something that is kind of a big red flag. It's board turnover and administrator turnover. It's amazing your school is able to do as well as it does, given that kind of turnover. And so to you first, Mr. Trujillo, and just tell me just honestly, not that you would lie to me, how many members on your board have been there for less than 1 year, one solid year?
Oh, geez. We just recently have two who just joined.
Is it 5?
Is
a year or less?
Year or less. Is it 6, 5?
Okay, well, if it's 6, that's even worse. So the thing is, what I'm getting to is on boards, and I was very happy to meet 2 new board members that are coming on. What we see and what a focus of ours is only 4 that have been there 1 year or less. Okay, then it's 6. Okay, you know what, honestly? Doesn't matter. Way too much turnover on the board, okay? Way too much. And where we see school success, and in the last school that was here, everything becomes a blur. Who was here this morning? Amy Beal, 8 years, 15 years, 4 years, 5 years. They're making a commitment to their school, realizing the commitment that they're making and the job that and the work that they need to put into it. It's not just, oh, I'm joining a board. I like kids. I like schools. I want to help out. I want to, give back to the public for a year or so. No. And so I'm hoping that you're doing onboarding with the 2 new board members that are here, anyone else that comes on or is currently there. This is a commitment. Our commitment is 4 years. And I think, many of us have just upped it to 8 years. We're going to be serving because you got to be invested. And I want your board to be invested because that is like the biggest red flag on any school that we see, board turnover. And in a lot of ways, maybe some of the challenges that were brought forward in public forum would not have existed if there was much more continuity on the board. So a question as well, Mr. Trujillo. Do you meet in Zoom or in person?
We meet in person. Well, we do hybrid, but we do have people on ground.
Okay, so mostly in person, is that?
Yes, that's correct.
Excellent. To anybody listening, In-person's the way to go. Zoom is a cop-out. You want to do Zoom and have your camera off and eat taco night on Tuesday or whatever, get off the darn board. Commit. And the other thing is, and I'm really serious about this, I think Zoom makes people rude, sarcastic. They act in ways on Zoom they would never act if you were sitting next to me, ever. The other thing that being in person does, and I'm curious about this, how robust is your public comment as part of your agenda?
You know, unfortunately, it hasn't been robust. We have had very few public comments during our board meetings.
Invite people. Okay. Oftentimes people don't even realize that it's happening. It always should be at the beginning of your agenda. And my feeling is on any topic, whether or not it's on the agenda. You find out so much from kids and parents and others in the community, and invite it, public comment. I mean, I would say you want to have at least 5 or 6 people in every meeting, but really just, and be welcoming, because we hear boards all the time, they are not welcoming to public comment. And that's the beginning of the end also when that happens. So I'll put you in the hot seat for a moment there. You can go. So thank you very much, Mr. Trujillo. Curious about long-term planning for the school. So as it relates to the board, we want people that are going to, I want people that are going to be there at least 3 years. Commitment to the school. What about Ms. Haas-Moskowitz, what is your long-term plan? What is your long-term plan? Let me try, I'm not using words well. What's your long-term planning with the school? And you have a lot of turnover. You're the 4th administrator in 5 years.
Well, thank you for that question, Commissioner.
Well, because it seems like every time I go to a graduation, I meet somebody
There's
new.
actually nothing I would like more than to go over in great detail everything I feel about what I've learned about the school organizationally, in terms of leadership, in terms of its culture. And I think you can tell a little bit from some of the sharing that there's actions that are confidential that I don't feel comfortable speaking to, although I would joyfully do so. And I would joyfully figure out, I've so appreciated the comment about how important it is for us to stay engaged with one another and find it in our hearts, no matter how hurt or upset we are, to remember that we are humans that all struggle and all suffer, and find that common ground. And I want to be that person and believe that I am most of the time. And so that doesn't mean that it's easy navigating all kinds of things that have come up in people's minds and their realities. So where I'm going with this is that I've been navigating a place that's all new to me. I'm here brand new. I mean, I lived in the West and I visited Santa Fe, but I've been here a year and a half. My family, my friends, my community are all far away in Florida. My grandchildren, they're here. And I'm here, and it's a beautiful place. And there was a lot of turnover when I walked in, and there were systems that were not particularly in place that I would like to have seen them in place. So I've worked really, really hard, I think, to bring the school to a place where we can find each other. I believe that. That's my intention, whether it came across that way or not. But I know where my intentions were. So I'm saying that to answer your question is that I am a very loyal and committed person. I will stay here the rest of my working days. And with the amazing debt that I am encumbering from moving to Santa Fe with housing and the difficulty of things, that could be a long time. I may have to work way longer than I thought. And that is irrelevant to your question, except that I have to keep working. Like I am 68 and I can't retire. But I also can't work someplace that I'm not inspired by, or that I don't believe has purpose for me, or that I don't feel called to. And I feel all of that, but that does not make it easy. So what is my commitment? It's enormous. It's infinite. My resilience is also pretty good. Am I the person that the school wants and the community wants? I guess that's yet to be determined through hopefully a very robust evaluation. Because I do agree in avenues and systems for processing concerns, complaints, as well as for impromptu conversations and relationship building. So what I want to do is clear. Whether that is to remain the choice, we'll see.
Thank you. Thank you for your candor. I would, whatever's, it's like I can be at the boxcar and somebody talks to me for 20 minutes about, this happened last Sunday during football, talks to me about, the program. And somebody else says something entirely different to me when I'm someplace else. And, so I know that in every institution, school, whatever it is, there's always going to be some sort of, conflict, some sort of displeasure, some sort of whatever. The question is, how is it dealt with to get to the other side? And hearing you today, because we've never really had a chance. I've seen you at the school and everything else, and but your answers to the questions today, and Mr. Trujillo, your commitment to this board makes me want you guys to thrive together, to take this school to the next level where, I think it's at a great level already, which is going to bring up what's next. But I just want things to work out in a way that people feel that all of you, that new board members also, you feel you're in an environment that you're nurturing yourself, you're being nurtured, and you're having purpose. Ultimately, it's about these amazing kids that came in today. It's all about them. And as long as we stay kid-focused, and I say this all the time, if the people across the street in the Roundhouse could watch the way we work, it doesn't matter that we're politically split on one or the other. We're focused on one thing. We know our job. And it's charter school kids. And I think that's why we get so much done. And I think it's why we're such a good commission. And I want that to happen for your school in that way as well. And I want continuity and longevity for all of you. I don't know that I'll be here another 5. I know that I'm serving another 4, but God forbid, a 3rd term? Anyway, so, which leads me to what's next. People, when I run into people and I talk to parents that I know that are at your school, one thing that comes up all the time is, why don't we have a middle school? Why don't we have grades 6 through 8? And I said, it's not because of us. I said, I'm only speaking for myself here, of course. I would entertain it in a heartbeat. Okay? Location is going to be the hardest thing because I can't see the commission ever allowing a middle school on a college campus. And real estate is challenging in Santa Fe. But I would, there's the need. And this isn't to be critical of Santa Fe Public Schools in any way, but middle school is challenging, and finding the right people for middle. One of the schools we just did was 6, 7, 8. Will you remind me? Because they focused on the middle school grades, and they're doing really well because they're so focused on these kids and their ages and their challenges, right? And so there's a school that we just approved. It'll be opening a year from this fall. Yeah, and opening next fall, called Equip, K-5. But they say they're a college preparatory charter school, K-5. So their whole focus is on reading is foundational to absolutely everything. Everything starts with reading in K. And they want they know that their families and their kids are already thinking like, where am I going to be in 15 years? Whatever it might be. And the kids might tour UNM. They're just thinking, down the line. And so, I really believe that using the model that you have, imagine, Ernest, what you could do with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, because they're finding out who they are in the world. They're going to lay their foundation for, are they kind and empathetic or not, right? Are they leaders, or are they just bystanders and doing whatever? And there's no one I know more qualified and sets a better example than Mr. Kavanaugh on that. So I would just encourage the board to be open to that as the next big step. Okay? Okay. And that, I may have a Columbo moment, I don't know, but that is it for now.
I hope that I wonder if I missed something, but I wanted to ask about first student attendance, and I recognize that in the situation you are, college courses don't take attendance, and so I don't know if that's the issue, but the fact that your attendance has gone down straight on, at least that's what we've seen, and then with the new vistas, who knows what that means, but it's way lower. Can you speak to what's going on with attendance? Because I do believe high school kids are not, and that's one of the things that's really difficult, that transition to being so that you have to manage your own time. You spoke to that a little bit, but I'd like to know what you're doing about the attendance.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm also happy for that question because I didn't know how I wanted to bring up this subject that I think is connected. And that for me is the most, I guess, I believe is the most under-identified challenge to educational process and maybe life process, and that is trauma. And I've been doing this long enough that I don't feel it's anything new. However, I do feel it's significantly more profound than I've ever seen it in all of my years in schools. And I've worked all over the country in all levels. Started as a preschool teacher, and I've taught university. So just watching and listening and observing, and for me, it's a huge concern. And I would say there is a direct, and it's growing rapidly, and every year I feel it more and more. And so specifically, we're a small school, so we know our students. We talk to them, we know their families as much as we can, and some more than others. And the stories and the sharings around trauma of just not being able to get out of bed to get to school, to be there, is not uncommon. So I would say that I believe is a huge influence on that. I'm also concerned about, we've tried to run a variety of different reports on attendance to try to get down to what it really is, and I'm just not satisfied that our data, and I'm not even saying that one way or the other is just like, is right. So that's something I'm also working on. It's just, can we get real numbers for attendance, every period, and how that's from Power School, and so I'm a little concerned about that. I'm very, very happy with the way we handle it because we still do calls. Like we take attendance, and then we have an amazing staff person, bilingual staff that calls. So we call. So we know they may not be sitting in that chair, but we know where they are. And if we don't and the parent doesn't, we figure it out, and that's rare. It's usually so. So social emotional learning, trauma-informed education is a huge priority at TMP. Always, I think it may always have been. Maybe it wasn't explicitly stated in that way. I wasn't here. I know it is for me as an educator. It's fundamental. And I think anyone in this room who has experienced trauma, I know I have, it's hard for me to do anything. It's hard for me to be my best self, to get work done and so forth. Completion, I think it's not only affecting attendance, I think trauma is affecting work completion as well, in terms of that then translates to grades and so forth. So for me, it's one of the root causes of any kind of concerns about being there. And so we address that. We have a full-time service dog now, an emotional support dog. And then I think you know about our ADW program with the dogs, that has been huge. We have students that I don't know if they'd even come if they didn't know that Labradoodle was waiting for them around. So that was really helpful. And that's by the way, that's for staff too. It's not, and it is all about the kids. I get that. And I've always also been one that said, and it's also about the adults, because the adults are with the students. And we have to figure out our stuff too, and be our best selves and model learning and risk-taking and all the things, and do what we say. I think I appreciate the comment that it's nice to see that we're approaching improvement, that we see things are wrong and we try to make it better. And I say, we have to. That's not, I appreciate you acknowledging, but I have to do that. And if we're going to ask our students to do that every single day in every single class, then we have to do it too. So there's a lot of challenge involved in being at school. And I think for a lot of our students who are facing depression, trauma, or are victims of violence, who the number of, and this is not a problem, it just the number of parental deaths has gone up. Well, I mean, I'm not, I just, it's, problem is not the word. It's just sad. And I just want to mention it, that I do think it's affecting our students being present and being marked here. But we know where they are. And we talk to their guardians, their parents, the people who are raising them. And then we talk to them. And then I send the letters out, and then we have meetings and invite, I mean, it's build relationships, and we're doing everything we can for the right reason, which is because we believe in them and relationships, and we want them to be healthy and happy people. And we also want them to be there at school, because if they're not there, the learning is hampered.
It's, I had hoped, and I'm going to use the C word, I had hoped that we were getting over the trauma from COVID. That it should be, that our attendance figures should be, you know, increasing. I mean, it's the same thing with going back to work, and people are changed. I understand it's all, but we have to take some real substantive, substantive efforts to get the kids in school. And you've described what you could do. I think we all need to look at this, because it's not just your problem.
Yeah.
But it is clear here in the paper that I just need to ask what your response is.
Well, I appreciate the question, and I hope you don't misunderstand me. I'm not necessarily connecting it to COVID. I think that there's other reasons that are contributing to the trauma.
Okay, so the other two questions, Chair Gibson, the other two questions I have are not specifically pointed at the school, but to us. And is this still an appropriate time to ask those questions? Okay. Okay, well, okay. Okay, so one of them is there's a mention of the sped cap. I don't have any understanding of what that sped cap was for or what it was. It says it's in place now. Does it have anything to do?
So the sped cap was in place in August when the renewal site visit took place. The Office of Special Ed closed the cap out in September. So the cap is closed. They no longer have an OSE cap.
Okay, it's still
It's
on.
timing.
Okay.
So when the rating came through,
Okay.
they no longer, they are now in compliance.
So that had nothing to do with what we've heard today.
Correct.
Okay.
We have we've checked with OSE, they have no additional complaints. So we have no record of any complaints being filed to any entity.
Okay. On the governance council was the second question, was in our thing, it says, the two at the bottom were, it says resigned, it puts an R on it. I think it's kind of important to know, is that resigned or removed?
Does the R mean resigned or removed? Or it,
It says resigned.
right?
Could
Could it mean removed?
Could it be removed?
There was one former board member that you heard from today during public comments that was removed.
Okay, so that does color the understanding a little bit about the governance board. Okay, that's my questions.
So I just, in your application, you indicated that you had hired someone to help work with IEPs.
We have we have a whole team of people who do that. And in addition to that, I've asked JMP, which is an agency that does that work, and they help us support our state reporting as well. They also work with us on quality control with our IEPs.
Okay, because the application specifically said you hired someone.
Yeah,
The way I interpret it, but by putting on, you added staff.
we added staff and we added JMP, and
Okay.
I think I mentioned JMP in the application.
Okay. So that at this point in time, there's, okay, I think we're good. Any additional questions? Sure. No, we, to our knowledge, we have. Yeah. Okay, can we take a break?
Take a break? What?
Sorry.
Like 5.
We good enough?
Go to the restroom if you need to, come right back. We just have to work out something.
Okay.
I mean, like 5 real minutes, 300 seconds. Okay?
He's good at math.
Yeah, I know.
5 times 60.
$296, 297, we're starting. 298, 299, 300. All right. If you're out there in the hallway, come on in. All right. Okay. With regards to the master's program, I move that the Public Education Commission approve the renewal application for the master's program for a 5-year term without conditions.
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Carrillo and a second by Commissioner Burt. Any discussion? If not, Commissioner Beck?
You good?
Commissioner Burt,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Armijo, Commissioner Manus,
Yes.
Commissioner Brower,
Yes.
Commissioner Klasisilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Ingham.
Yes, but with an explanation.
Can, yeah, he can do that.
Okay, I'm gonna say,
Oh, wait.
no,
We all need, we
You
should all
finish.
vote and then you can explain.
Vice Chair Carrillo,
Yes.
Chair Gibson.
Yes.
Secretary Beck, yes. There are 9 votes for, 0 votes against. The motion passed.
Thank you. Commissioner Ingham?
okay. I am gonna say, I hate trauma, and I hate being slapped with trauma at the last second. And it is very difficult for me to manage situations when we get pressed into a situation where we have to make a decision and all of a sudden things come up. So I'm going to say, I heard the voices in the audience. I don't discount those voices. It is very troubling. And I heard that you had to remove that person. There may be good reasons for all these things. It may all be perfectly legit, but we have no way of knowing what's going on, and we have no time to deal with it. So yes, we have to vote now, yes for this right now, but it was, all I'm going to say is I heard those voices, and it genuinely hurts me that trauma is going on in your school. I know how much I hate it. I know how much you guys must hate it. I would beg of you guys to talk to each other, get past this, the actions of dismissing, canceling, that kind of stuff just doesn't work for me. And so I would ask you guys, be the adults in the room and get this resolved. Thank you.
Beck?
Yeah, and I think it was brought up before, but in my little less than 2 years, I've seen a strong correlation between the quality and tenure of the governing council and the strong operation of the school. So I would hope that the turmoil of the governing council is now over. They are all committed to continuing to make this school the excellent school that it is, and that they're strongly invested in continuity and consistency within that. And to Commissioner Brower's, not Chair Brower, but Commissioner Brower's point, that piece in your value system of respect for everyone involved.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. So commissioners, we do have a work session to start. What's your consensus on break, whatever you want to call it?
And adjourning this.
No, no, I know. 2:30? 2:30?
Could you adjourn the renewals, Madam Chair? Hello? Madam Chair, could you adjourn the renewals?
Your volunteer work, Dr. Trujillo. Cindy, the voices in here are too loud. But what, are you talking to us or the commissioners? They're going to start back at 2:30 with the work session.